Okay, folks. Golly, man, I'm telling you, it's been a whirlwind of a week. Very, a lot of emotion this week. Ups and downs, ups and downs. Folks, what I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to get started here. This was a very hard show to get done. I'm going to tell you why, because I don't know why the numbers not showing up. It says 152. There's no numbers.
It's just a delay. It's fine.
Do we need to do something, start it over,
No,
make it work?
no. I mean, the people are there. It's just not showing on the
Yeah, I know,
screen
but
yet.
do we need to because it jumps around when it does that?
No, it's fine so far.
I'm going to tell you something. This show, we're going to talk about some people's encounters, things like that. But first thing I got to tell you, okay, if you've been keeping up with what's going on, people are asking me. I've been getting hammered with messages, bunches of emails. You know, who can you trust? Really, true? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who I can trust right now. Go look at my Facebook. When the other guy over there in the swamp made his statement about their friends, he wasn't lying. Let's put it that way. I knew it. I had several people try to tell me, and then I intercepted a message yesterday. That's all I'm going to say. And he's now given. Thank you for that donation. We appreciate it. Desperately right now, for sure, going to need some help. But donations are not expected. But now I'm being called a greedy creep by somebody who lurked around in my channel, who I should have banned and kicked out a long time ago because she's a malcontent. But this person gave that said individual that became buddy with him again sensitive information that he leaked to another individual that's very dangerous. Pretty sorry. That's all I got to say. Folks, they say the most outlandish things and do the most outlandish things. They use blackmail and subterfuge. They can't blackmail me. That's why they hate me. You can't blackmail me and you can't hurt me. You can't come up here and do nothing because you can't do nothing. You're nothing. You're all talk. You're a bunch of talk. They get on their channel and they whine and then pray and talk. Dude, you're like the Sadducees and the Pharisees up there bowing up and down in prayer. And then they talk about Jesus and stuff like that. Stop talking about this man, okay? Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, do not stop besmirching and talking about, because when somebody told you the other day to stop talking about religion, stop talking about God, they like, he said to stop talking about God. No, they were telling you to stop talking about God, because when you talk about God, you don't really mean it. You don't mean it. You know you don't. And the funny thing is, like, I didn't lose sleep. I slept great today. I don't give a crap. I went to bed really late. Didn't get into bed until about noon because I had a lot to do, because I work. I have a job. Unlike all these other people, they don't work. They get a million excuses, every one of them. Every one of them has an excuse why they don't work. Everyone, I carpal tunnel, very just very painful.
Yeah.
Oh, my leg, it works, but not perfectly. Sometimes there's a slight pain in my knee, so therefore I need disability.
I can't work, but I'm boots on the ground.
I'm boots on the ground, though. I go out and I
Can't
walk
work, though.
around in the woods.
It's like those homeless people that can sit around in like 100-degree weather all day, just
Begging
holding up
for
a
money,
sign. 110 degrees, they're out there for hours all day, but they can't work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's funny is that you could literally get paid just to hold up a sign and people
Yeah.
do
I
it.
know. I mean, and people pay them.
Advertise them all the time.
In the fall, it's
You know,
even
you
better
can get
'cause
a job
sit there in
like
the nice
standing
weather.
around in the AC as like a cashier or something, right? You don't have to do you don't have to
guess
do
so.
that.
Yeah,
But it's called a job, and you have to be there at a set time and leave at a set time, and you have to be told stuff by a boss. So I'm not gonna do that.
And then they keep saying that we attack poor people. Look, you're only poor because you don't work. That's the problem. You don't work. And then they talk about going back to work like this is work. This isn't work. This is fun. This is a hobby for us. Work is actually what we have our guards doing. We have our people working. We have a construction company too. Those people work. Those are people that actually work. This is not, that's the thing, folks. I came into this. I didn't need other people's money. They said other people's money. Right now, trust me, okay? This was not a job for me. This was something that I enjoyed doing, and they're so freaking angry. You know, the recurring theme this week, you know what it was, folks? It's funny. I'm going to tell you, you're going to laugh. Why did he quit? He said he was going to quit. They were so mad. All their little videos were just them mad because I wouldn't quit. You know, you got Icky Ike up there just angry. He said he was going to quit. It's the 50th time this week. He said he was going to quit. Why is he not quitting? Why can't he just leave and let me abuse people? You know, he's very mad. He's very mad. And then the choke artist up there, he's mad too. He's mad. They're all watching, by the way, too. I'm sure they're all watching. You talking about you were going to fight me. Dude, no. Too little, too late. You had your chance, and you made up a bunch of stipulations and do the hokey pokey and stand on your head and clap backwards. Look, now you want to talk about dude, shut up, okay? I already found out your situation, so I can't get my hands dirty with you. All right? Stop talking to me. You know you're not going to do it. You weren't going to do it. You made up a bunch of stuff, and now you're saying it now that you know that I'm not able to. So that's the thing there, dude. You made up you made your choice. You guys talk. I got to take a call.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So I just had a thought, like the Wolf and just PRT in general. It kind of reminds you of Dave Chappelle playing Sean Combs. It was like, can't stop, won't stop. We're not going nowhere. Don't worry. So we do have a show for y'all today. We're gonna get into we're gonna get into the paranormal potluck. Just kind of cross the spectrum of paranormal stuff today. We just gotta get this stuff out of the way. But yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of crap going on that we wish wouldn't go on. And honestly, none of this stuff would happen if people would just do right. It's very simple. You know, don't just be normal. I don't know why people can't do that. It's not as hard as it looks. You know,
It's not a lot to ask.
just you know, you don't be mentally and emotionally unstable. You don't go off and get into some wild crap all the time, talking about being crazy. I'll do this, I'll do that. Can you? How about you just like be a normal functioning human being? You know, it's not that hard, but people can't do right. So we gotta deal with all this defending from all this cloak and dagger crap because so-and-so wants to be kingpin of this and that, and the other guy wants to be godfather, and this dude over here wants to be puppet master, and other one over here wants to be wish master. With like, what? I don't get it. I'll never get it. Just be normal, all right? Stop being mentally ill. Stop being you, I guess, you know, because some of the worst advice you can give some people is just be yourself. Just be yourself. Some people don't need to be themselves. Some people need to be someone else because who they are is just not or it's not working, right? It's not working out for you. It's not working out for the people around you. Just be someone else. Don't be yourself. I don't get it. I mean,
It's a dang shame. But, you know, can't let that stop us. So let's go
thank
ahead.
you, Jason. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that, Jason. Let's go ahead and give them the Patreon, give them the details on that, you know, where they can find Wolf, stuff like that.
So the Patreon is right there at the bottom left of the screen. I can't see. I think it's going to
It's
be
right
here.
under Anthony.
Yeah,
Just
right
do
here.
it.
That's the Patreon. And you know, since we are gonna keep putting shows out there, now we can encourage y'all to go there if you like what we're doing. You don't have to. You giving us your time is more than enough. But if you have the will and the means to just financially support, then by all means go to Patreon, become a Patreon member. And when you do, there's going to be 5 different tiers to sign up for, $10 through $50 tiers. The more you sign up for, the more you get. You sign up, you send us a message saying, hey, this is my shirt size, this is my mailing address.
Yeah, and depending on what tiers you can get all the way up to. I mean, I think every single one you get a swag bag, no matter what. But they do improve the swag bags at least. And then you also get books from authors.
And they're all autographed, by the way.
Autographed books. And then you also get Wolf's books if you choose the highest tier, both of them. And then the $40 tier, you just get one of your choice, I think.
Yeah. But regardless of recent criticisms, we don't. We're not in this for your money. We're in this for your time. You know, money comes and goes, but your time, it you're never gonna get it back. You know, that's the most valuable thing you can give us. The time it takes you to be here with us. Every time we go live, every time we drop a pre-recorded episode, the time it takes to hit the like or to hit subscribe, to leave a comment, you know, that's the most valuable thing that you can give us.
All right, let's see what's going on with the chat.
Oh, and once again, Barton's in here with us. He's here. He's right here in the live stream in the chat with us every single time. Like clockwork. He's right there. Barton has his own YouTube channel. It's called Humanoids with Barton Unley. He does great work. And last time we talked about his channel, he got an uptick in subscribers. So I'm glad to hear that. But if you haven't subscribed yet, do yourself a favor. Go to Inhumanoids with Barton Unley. Just type it in the YouTube. It'll be right there to pop up, and give him a subscription and check out his content. He does good work.
Oh yeah, Lyle as well. Lyle Blackburn. You can find his channel at Lyle Blackburn. I'm pretty sure it's just his name.
Yeah,
That's another one I'd recommend subscribing to. He's been putting out some really good stuff lately.
Jade said, my son collects pins. It would be cool if you guys would make one to buy. Nelly actually had that idea not too long ago, and she found a place who would make like little custom pins. I don't know. I'll see if I can get in touch with her to do that. Like if I can get her to get in touch with those people to give us like a price. I mean, it can't be that expensive, you know. It's a simple little piece of metal. They just kind of stamp out your logo on it. You know, that's pretty cool. Oh, and y'all are asking about the zip up hoodies. Again, we're waiting on our supplier. We got. See, what we have to do is we have to like custom make them on our supplier's website. And then we have to wait for a sample to come in so we can make sure that it's gonna be good enough to sell. Well, we've done that twice now, and the samples just haven't been
good enough to sell.
Yeah, I mean, because when you make it on the website, you get like a mock-up, but you don't really know exactly what it's gonna look like until you see it in person.
And you're able to put it on and
yeah.
see exactly where everything fits and everything.
Yeah, so we're just waiting on the samples to come in so we can
we've gotten two
push into
samples
the store.
that weren't correct.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, folks. I had to step away because I had an important phone call. Things are not. I'm not going to say things aren't good because things are great, but things are not like you can't. It's just going through a lot, folks. Okay, and these people are going to push us to the absolute limit because they're struggling for their survival in this community. And what we have to do is just not let it happen, okay? I don't care about them surviving out in the wild or whatever it is they claim they do in their boots or whatever. They need to use their boots to go work. That's the problem. They want to go boots on the ground. Go put them on the ground and go to work. How about that? You could do us all a favor. And they're so mad. They keep telling me that I need to go away.
They just put like 10% of their effort into working that they put into doing all this subterfuge.
Need a little bit more
They cure so many diseases.
We need a little bit more boots on the shop floor. You know, less on the ground, more put your boots on the shop floor and get to work.
Let's put the boots out. Put some working shoes on.
Yeah. And so another thing too, folks, we have an announcement. We are going to eventually try to come back and do the 4 days, but right now we're just going to do 2. Maybe this coming week we'll drop an episode. I don't know yet. We're still debating. When you have to deal with this kind of, shenanigans, chicanery, whatever you want to call it, it's very taxing. I spent yesterday in a war room, basically, just dealing with people and trying to figure out how we're supposed to protect ourselves and close all these gaps. I think we closed a big one yesterday. I prayed for discernment and for answers. And I feel like this person made a mistake, and they sent me a text. You know who you are. You made a mistake. You made a mistake, and you know you did, and you sent that message to the wrong person. And I thank God that I saw the truth. Now, you can tell whoever you want your story. You can spin it however you want. I don't believe you. I don't trust you. We're not friends. You know who you are. I didn't trust you from Tuesday. When it started on Tuesday, I was already like apprehensive, and everybody and their dog tried to tell me, yeah. But I got a witness. To what was said. So that's that's important. We got witnesses. These people think they're slick. They think they're cute. Yeah. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do at least 2 shows a week, whether it's one live and one pre-record, right, Anthony?
Yeah.
And folks, I'm going to tell you something right now. The people sitting across from me, they're not bad guys. They're not bad kids. They're being accused of some bull crap from this one person in their camp. And the other ones are just running around pushing all the lie narratives they can. We didn't do anything to these people. They brought this to us. They started it, but we'll damn sure finish it. I will. I tell you right now. I can't speak for all my allies and everybody else that's involved in this. They're going to fight the battle the way they want to fight it. I don't care. We talk every day. I talk all the time to my friends and my family and my allies, and I don't always agree with their approach. Me, I'm just going to be, you see this Hannibal. That's Hannibal, not Hannibal Lecter. This is Hannibal Barca. Look him up. He was a general. I'm just going to fight this battle like I've always fought every battles, and I'm not going to sit there and take it. I'm not going to let you run me down. Your lies aren't going to go unchallenged. I'm not going to make a video every time you do because y'all are constantly doing that. But the thing is, and if they don't like the parodies and the joking, then shut up. They're mad because I know how to do humor, and they don't. They get so mad. They're like, hey, you stop. You're exposing us. Social Blade's not real. And one of them tried to convince me that Social Blade was fake. He told me and Barton Nunley that. We were on the phone with him. You know you did. Yeah, you know you did. He was trying to protect his master. Trying to tell us that all the records are fake, everything's fake. Dude, shut up, okay? We were on to you. You weren't fooling me. You didn't fool me. You hurt me. You hurt me. As a friend, I thought you were a friend, but you're not. You weren't my friend, so now I don't give a crap. I went to sleep, and I woke up today, and I felt great. I went to the gym last night, and you know what I did? I worked out. Because working out makes me feel good, and I worked out like a madman, and I put all the worries and for that hour and a half, to hour and 20 minutes typically I work out. I give it to God. I put everything on the back burner. God, you got this. You got me. Everything is good. I'm going to take care of what I need to take care of. I'm going to say this, and this may sound kind of odd, but if you're in your life and you're going through things, you guys are going through things too. And no, it's not just the hillbilly redneck whatever guy up there now. There's another hillbilly redneck, and then 2 African American guys. They're the troublemakers. They're pretty much doing what they're doing, and they're mad because they're being exposed in every way possible. And they want us to see Bettina fall. They had been plotting it. I'm telling you right now, and they didn't get away with it. And I could have been like, oh, you know what? That's not my fight. I'm just going to stay out of it. I didn't do that. A lot of people keep telling me, was it worth it? Was it worth it? Yeah, I'll do it again. I'm not going to let people attack my friends, my family. You can attack me all day long. I'm just going to be a smart ass. I don't care about that. I always just get smart. I don't care. People are mad, too, because, like Anthony said before, evil people and stupid people, they don't really get humor. It's kind of funny how they always portray this villain with the good, funny one-liners and stuff. Really and truly, they're not. The villains they're not really funny.
Yeah, no. I mean, because humor is a uniquely human thing. It's a unique expression of the human spirit. So demonic or malevolent spiritual entities and those influenced by them, they don't get it. They can't create it, and they can't understand it. And when they try to create it, it just comes off stupid. It's like, what are you doing? You look like you should be in a straitjacket. I don't know what you're doing. You're trying to be funny, and it's just not landing.
Yeah,
it's such an alien, foreign.
And it's
thing
cringe when they do it.
Yeah,
because laughter is, it makes you feel good, and that's bad to them.
They don't want that.
I mean, because
it's healthy.
Think about it. There's no other living species that expresses humor. It's a uniquely human thing. So if you got some bad juju on you, then it's gonna affect you like that. Like you're not gonna get humor because these parasitic, malevolent spiritual forces, they hate humanity. So yeah.
So that being said, folks, I like to mix humor into, my everyday life, into my conversations with people. I like to do humor on the show. I'm actually I guess, an amateur comedian. I've done some stand up. I mean, if you watch the stuff I did, my work on at the conference, watch our conference that we did and the work I did on there, and I joke throughout the whole thing. That's what I do. I stand in front of a bunch of people, I laugh, and we make jokes. We didn't have to make fun of people, but people beg you to make fun of them. They're like, "Hey, yo, what you go ahead," and I'm like, okay. And then it's really easy to pick people apart. I mean, it's not hard, and then they get so mad. That's good for you, Joanne. You know what? We need to say a prayer for Joanne, everybody. That's not a good thing. She has breast cancer. That's not a good thing. Prayers, exactly, Barton. And thank you, Barton, for that, for standing up for me. That was, I knew he was going to say something, but I didn't know it was going to be, and it just, so many people are now being affected by this. And I'm telling you, we didn't start it. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump up to the stories. I got to get started on this. I got one for you, and this one's really, this one's interesting. Now, I have a friend of mine that still lives in the giant metropolis of Rockdale, Texas. And it is a small community. I'm not going to say thriving because it's a power plant shut down. There's not a whole lot going on out there, but he lives right outside of Rockdale. And he moved back out there not too long ago. He was living in a town called Cameron. And so in between Cameron and Rockdale, and there's, like we've said before, there's a lot of hogs. So he was out hog hunting in between Cameron and Rockdale. A lot of land out there to just go. And he's got a friend who had some hogs and said, come out here, let's go and let's shoot them, whatever they do. And sorry, folks, if you don't like guns or whatever, but here in Texas, everybody's got one. And so they went out to do some hog hunting. And what they saw really blew their minds. And of course, he got in touch with me through a friend of mine that I've known. She's been a friend of mine since grade school. Her mother was a teacher, and she reached out to me, and she says, hey, do you know John? His name's John. You know him? And I said, yeah, I know him. And she's like, well, he wants to talk to you. And so him and his friend were out there, and they were hunting. And his friend is named David, and that's all you need to know. But when they were out there hunting, hold on one second. Gotta write this down with the other one. I'll note in my head that I was trying to remember, and it just hit me. Boom. So what happened was they were in a stand, in a tree stand, and they see something. They hear the leaves. This was last fall, about a year ago, and they see the trees kind of swaying back and forth. These are big, like oak trees. And they see something moving, and one of the tree branches moves and goes up and down by itself, like somebody was moving it, but it was a very big branch. It shouldn't have been moving like that.
Like something jumped off of it.
Yeah, and well, it was. I thought that at first, but what he told me, what John told me was it was kind of like moving, like they were bouncing on it.
Oh, okay.
And then they sprung off of it, and then that was 2 trees over. Then the tree next to them, they could see clearly when the sun was at a certain angle. They saw for like an hour went by, and they just kept looking over there thinking they heard something, and they heard like a click. And sometimes hogs, they click their teeth, And so they kept looking around. They didn't see anything. There were no deer. There were no hogs. And this is an area loaded with hogs. And I'm going to tell you something else before the end of this here. This thing was bouncing around on a tree branch, like about an hour or so before it jumps to the next tree. Well, they think it did because they saw the tree move, and they're like, but they didn't see anything. Once the sun hit it at a certain angle, they saw a yellowish glint come off of this thing. Yellowish, whitish, yellowish, And then they look at each other, and they were like, did you see that? And they were on either side of a tree stand, and they were both kind of looking, and they were like, okay, we know we just saw that. Same description you get from these cloaking beings, whatever they are.
Yeah.
About 7 foot tall, very large, wide shoulders, and they could see like limbs move. And then at one point, one of them like tossed a tree branch over there just to see like what, maybe, like a twig, and threw it. And then this thing, they saw it crawl on the side of the tree and move. And when it moved, they could see this kind of like refraction, coming off of it.
Yeah.
When it moved to the left, they were like, dude, that's when they knew there was something there. And then they were terrified, and they were like, well, we need to get out of here. And then, so they said, what do we do? Do we just slowly back away, or do we sit here? There was another guy that they were with who had the vehicle, was supposed to pick them up at a certain point, and he wasn't coming for another hour. And otherwise they would have to walk a long ways. And it was the one guy's son, actually. And he said, well, my son's going to be here. Let's just see what happens. This thing's not messing with us, not attacking us. Eventually, and when they tried to take a picture of it, nothing came out. It just looks like a blurry tree. It's not, you can't make anything out of it. And so eventually they took a picture, whatever, and the thing just kind of would, like, sometimes they'd see like a ray of light hit it, and it would slide up and down its body. They couldn't get a good bead on exactly the size of this thing. Scary thing, though, eventually a couple hogs did kind of wander into that area. And when it did, they immediately took off and they ran. This creature, whatever it was, they didn't see because it was invisible, but it dropped down off of the tree because they heard the boof, and then they saw leaves and things moving from its feet because it was fall and there was a lot of leaves everywhere. And it gave chase to these hogs, and they said that you could see from the leaves and the footsteps, like you could see the leaves moving. It was very fast. I mean, it was way faster than these hogs. Then they go out of sight, and they hear squealing and yelping, wailing, whatever, and they knew that one of the hogs had been attacked. So this thing was doing the same thing they were. While that was going on, they got down out of the tree, and they walked what they called the long way back to the meeting point. Did you close it up?
Yes.
Okay. So they walked the long way, and it took them about 2 hours, and they were just scared because they thought, we're going to have to walk by this thing if it comes back. And then he got into cell range and called his son and said, meet us at this other spot, and they met him, and that's their story. A couple days later, they went out there with 4 people, like them two, his son, and then the other guy's nephew. They all went out there, and what they saw was blood and a little bit of tissue, and then the skull and the spine of this creature, of this hog, completely stripped. Everything was gone, ribs,
Wow.
everything. So that is crazy. So what I asked this guy, he has a friend named Cole, and now when he was talking to that guy, John said, I have a friend I want to introduce you to. I said, I'd love to meet him. And so he introduced me to this guy, and we talked, and he said that, I'm going to tell you something. He's an old rancher, lives on the other side of Cameron for a long time. He was living out there. And he said, I've been having issues with these creatures for a long time. And I asked him, I said, what do they look like? And he said, they're different looking. But they're distinctly 2 types, but they don't all look the same. And so I told him, I said, I think I know where you're going with this. I didn't. I thought it was going to be your standard, like, one looks ape-like, kind of like a throwback human, whatever. Nope. That is not what he told me. He said one looks like a hyena-type creature that can stand on its hind legs.
Oh, gross.
And then he said, and the other one looks, get this, and this is, now, I'm not shocked at this, and this isn't the first time I've heard some stuff like this, but it is telling it's, at first I didn't know what to believe, but this is a guy who he's not into this stuff. He's never heard of this stuff. He's an old rancher that lives out there. He's like 67 years old. He has no reason to be telling me any fairy tales, okay? He's not looking for any kind of like, hey, say my name or whatever. He doesn't care about that. And I heard his son in the background, but he didn't really talk. And he told me something. he said these things, that these other creatures, he said they look like werewolves, kind of. He's like, but some of them have horns. And when he said that, I was like, that part right there kind of threw me back, because we've heard of that though. We've heard like the one off William Cannon,
Yeah.
Arash's sighting. He saw didn't have horns, but it looked part human, part wolf. And then we had the bartender that used to work with us, and me and Arash were both a witness to that. He's in my book, and he has a place right here in Austin, a restaurant. And so one of the things that we talked about was this creature that looks like a wolf, but it has horns. And some people describe it as having a goat-like face, but with teeth. So it's like a goat man with fangs and canines and teeth, but horns. Now, you may think that's weird. You may think that's crazy. But according to some people, let's, for example, Jerry and Ella, the trackers, right?
Uh-huh.
From Oklahoma, they had said that, and this is their belief, and I'm not saying this is mine, but there is something to it. They say that these creatures, what they eat, they can become through the DNA, right? So if this creatures eat goats, enough of them, could they become that? Because they're built differently than we are. Their physiology is completely different. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the answers are. But when he told me this, and so I talked to this guy, and we had a long talk. We had 2 conversations. He's just an old guy. He just likes to fish and hunt and dip snuff. And I told him I dipped snuff for 24 years, and I quit. He's been dipping snuff for 47 years. He started when he was 20 years old.
Dang.
And he's still dipping snuff.
I'm surprised he still has a jaw.
I know. And but some people, like, they can smoke, and this is not, this is according to the Heart and Lung Association of Malaysia, okay? But they say that smoking 6 times a day is good for you. I'm joking, folks. I'm joking. Now my enemies are going to be like, he was encouraging his audience to smoke. He's an evil man. You got to stop him. He needs to be stopped. No, folks. We're not encouraging you to go out and light up Lucky Strikes. I'm not a spokesman for Camel. No. What I'm saying is, though, I'm making a joke that there are people in other countries, they smoke cigarettes and they think it's perfectly fine. You'll be in a restaurant, they're smoking, they don't care. It'll get up in you just be like, I'm dying over here. I'm allergic to it. I can't take it. But there are people who will smoke like all the time, like our friends, the Middle Eastern people. They I'm not joking, man. We know a lot of Arabs and a lot of Israelis both, and they will be sitting there talking to you, and they're smoking, and you're like, yeah, that's great. Yeah. It was a Dybbuk. Yeah. Oh, yeah, a gin. Okay. A couple of them work for us. I mean, we've had a few of them work for us, and they're very, they like to smoke. It's not like here where it's like, don't smoke, or, there's a smoking section. No, there's not. There's no smoking, whatever. I know it's bad. I know it's bad for you. I don't do it. But I don't hate on people who smoke. I don't, whatever. I have no opinion. But this, just don't blow it on me, you know what I'm saying? But this guy, like, he dipped snuff, and he said, dude, I was out there on my ATV, and he was mending a fence because he had just a few sheep out there. They were all gone. Nothing. Sheep were just completely gone. Sheep were all gone. Huh. He said, dude, I go out there. There's nothing there. The fence is down, but it's not, and so he goes to the neighbors. He goes right. He doesn't see them. He doesn't find anything. Doesn't find it. This is about 40 miles from where these other guys are, or 30 miles, sorry. Lives out in the middle of nowhere. And then he tells me, he says, dude, one of these things came right up to my window and was staring at my grandson.
Oh, wow. He's
like, and my grandson's a teenager, and my grandson freaked out. Now, his grandsons he's a Texan. So he had him a scattergun or a shotgun right there by his bed, and he just was like, wasn't taking it, wasn't going to take it. These are tough, country people. They don't take this crap. And he said it scared the crap out of him, but he didn't run into the other room. He just grabbed his shotgun. When he pointed it at it, this 12 gauge, this thing knew what it was, and it walked away quickly, kind of trotted, actually, just kind of quickly moved away. I'm going to tell you something. This guy told me, okay, he's like, after that first initial encounter, that they had. It was his grandson, the first one that saw it. He said they were out by the tank and they were fishing. They had it stocked, you know. Now here in Texas, we have what? Tanks.
Yeah, oh yeah, all over the place.
They're ponds. They're
Man-made ponds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man-made ponds for the cattle because there's so much cattle. And so whenever he went out there to the tank to see, you know, what was, you know, what was, you know, kind of taking a inventory. Thank you for that donation, Jason. We greatly appreciate it. He says, when you cross that old Red River, Haas, that just don't mean a thing this time. It matters who's an Austin PRT fan. Thank you. And so when he goes down to the tank with his grandsons and their friend, and they went fishing, he kind of was trying to see like how many, you know, fish were biting. Maybe they needed to restock it, whatever. They go out there and the fish, there's nothing. There's no fish, like nothing at all. They don't catch anything. 2 days they try. There's nothing. He throws the food out there for the feeder. They have a feeder, you know, that sprays it. Nothing happened. He's like, whatever these things were had killed all the deer in the area. There were no more hogs, which he wasn't upset about that, but there was no more deer. He goes, there weren't even any birds. He's like, the damn birds were gone.
You get some bulls out there to deal with these.
Oh no, his he had six head of cattle that he's not a big ranch, but he had a little farm, whatever.
Uh-huh.
His cows had all been picked off one by one. They were taking them. I'm not talking about like, folks, you got to understand what I'm telling you here. He'd go out and he sees a slaughter scene. No, they're just gone.
Just gone, yeah.
Everything was gone. And the first thing, like I said, he saw this one creature. He was walking out to his outbuilding, he called it. Does a little bit of work. He does some mechanic work. He says, I look, and it's just me, and I'm working. And he said his friend Bubba was down the road. They had gone into town, of all things, to get some beer and some smokes or whatever, because they were going to be working late. These are country people, you know. Bubba doesn't come back for a little while. He's thinking, probably stop by the beer joint and shoot the breeze. You know, he's supposed to be helping him work on his own vehicle. So he says, with my best friend, he didn't come back right away. He says, I hear something like gravel moving behind me. And he's like, at this point, and then, remember, this is a story I got from this other guy, John. He said, one of my friends, you know, my dad's friend, whatever. He says, I hear footfall in this gravel. He's like, I turn around. And I see this creature standing there. He goes, it kind of moving its head up and down. He's like, it's moving side to side, you know, looking. And he said that this thing at that point began to growl. And he turns around, he goes, I'm staring at this creature. Now, this is the first time he had seen one of these creatures, any of them at all. Thank you for that donation, Miguel. You're awesome. It says, I'm ready to wear my PRT hat and shirt this weekend at the Yakima Valley Bigfoot Conference to represent PRT there and spread the word of our Library of Alexandria. Thank you. Thank you very much. So he said, I turned around. He calls me Mr. Wolf. And he's like, Mr. Wolf, I'm going to tell you right now. And I just said, you can just call me Wolf, but he continued to call me Mr. Wolf. That's fine, whatever. And so he said, I turned around. I see this creature. And he's like, and I'm sitting there. All I got is a wrench. I look over on the table across the room, and there's my pistol. He's like, I got a nice 45. He's like, and I'm thinking, I don't know by the size of this creature and the way it looks if that pistol is going to help me. When he stopped working on the car and just kind of, he said, there was a long time. He goes, we stood there and stared at each other. And he's like, he gave me a very good description of it. He said, I stood there trying to look as big as possible. I'm 6'1". He's saying, you know, and I'm holding a wrench and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? He's like, so I just I put it in my other hand and I started to reach for the gun. Like I started to kind of sidestep. And when I put my hand out where I could almost touch it, this thing started growling and took 2 steps toward me. And he said, and it was like, boom, boom. And it was only like 10 feet away at that point. And he was like, it was right there inside my garage, my outbuilding, as he called it. He's like, there was no way I was going to be able to grab that thing. He goes, it didn't talk to me. He's like, but its body language and the look in its eyes, and it looked over at the table, then looked at me. He goes, I could tell that it knew what I was trying to do. He said at that point, he goes, I was just about to say, you know, it's do or die. I'm either going to have to grab this and do something, or I'm going to be possibly torn apart by this creature. Looked unreal. It did not look like it should exist. And I'll give you the description. First, though, he said his friend, the lights, he saw lights coming down the drive. He got a long drive. And he's like, dude, never felt so good in my life. I knew that was Bubba. And he goes, I could hear his loud, country music playing from the truck. He's driving up, coming up the road, and he's like, okay, maybe I don't have to do something. He said when that happened, this thing turned and kind of got distracted as he began to get closer. And then it looked at him, and he said it kind of lifted up its lips and kind of snarled and then took off and was out of there. He said never in all the years that I lived in that property, that I've lived on this property, and when I worked in that outbuilding, did I ever close the front gate, the door? He has these big doors like a garage. I never felt like I needed to lock anything. There's nobody out there, nobody.
Yeah.
He said, but these things, he goes, I don't remember these things being around. He goes, I lived in an adjacent property when I was a child. He remembers his grandfather talking about having seen what he called a Bigfoot. But he didn't really talk a lot about it because it didn't seem like it was that important. He says, Josh, when we connect, we're twice as strong. When we disconnect, we're twice as weak. I'm very proud of our PRT. Thank you so much. We are connected. We all are. Thank you for that donation. I appreciate it. That's another thing. They're complaining that we get donations. They're so mad because they're just getting people's money.
Jealous.
For what? Because they do good work and they research?
No, because we have nice, generous people.
Yeah, and we also, do what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. Not
just go up there and be like, and then you do this and you do that, and with a wiffle ball bat. Just shut up, okay? Nobody wants to hear it because it's not good. All right? Anyways, the guy turns around. He sees this thing, right? And it runs. His friend pulls up and stops, slams on his brakes, and jumps out with a rifle. And he's like, what was that? And he said, I don't know. It came into the garage or whatever. It didn't, whatever the building was, it's outbuilding, whatever. I keep saying it's a garage. But it came in. He's like, and it stared at me for what seemed like an eternity. And he goes, I don't know how long it was. He's like, it could have been 10 minutes, could have been an hour. I don't know. He's like, I honestly can't tell you. It just felt like forever. And then nothing happened. It ran. But he said that was the first one that he saw. Now, let me give you a description of it. If you take like a light brown colored being and give it a hyena-type head, the light brown, now it's not like a hyena, how a hyena has that color. No, it was different. There was a light brown, and then there was like black sort of streaks and spots in it to mix together. He said it looked weird. And the legs looked scrawny and weird, like they wouldn't be able to support the upper body. And the way it kept walking, and then it kept lowering itself and then kind of standing up and lowering itself.
Skips leg day.
Yeah, it was skipping leg day for sure. And so this thing, it does what it does. It lifts the upper body, it forgets about the legs, and then it runs. He said when it started to run, it got down on all fours, and then after it rounded the corner, was gone. Hold on one second. Somebody need to be booted out of here.
I just removed their message.
What was it?
I just said you have to stop with your nonsense impressions. I love you guys, but it's just childish and invoking.
Get him out of here. See ya. Bye.
Okay.
You don't need to announce it. You can go. I'm gonna do whatever impression. Here's my impression of you. You need to stop. I like those guys. That's my impression of you. Goodbye. So, anyways, folks, what ended up happening? This guy, he talks to his friend, and here's his friend. He comes out with a rifle, and so his friend says, "Let's go look for it."
Mm-hmm.
And Cole's
exactly what I would expect for someone named Bubba.
Well, I'm sure Bubba's not his real name, but
obviously I know.
Cole tells Bubba, "No, I'm not going to go look for it. I don't want to go look for this thing." Eventually, he did get a couple of his friends from the next county over to come over and actually go out and look for these things. Okay? Did you ban him permanently forever? Ban him. Don't watch my show. Go watch their show. You'll see great quality over there. It's awesome. Believe me. It's fun. It's fun over there. You'll have fun. It's like Arkham Asylum. So what's crazy though, when they're talking, his friend says, "Look, we need to go and we need to get like a posse together." And he says, "So let's go get a few people." Well, this is actually kind of funny because, and I don't know Bubba. I'm not cracking on Bubba, but Bubba's idea of a posse was to go out to the beer joint and tell his friends that they needed to stop a pack of coyotes that were killing everything. And it doesn't tell them what it is. He doesn't say, "Hey, these are werewolves with horns," because they hadn't seen those at that point. Or his grandson did. But he's like, he didn't say it was a giant hyena that walked on its hind legs. Nobody's going to be like, "Oh, well, what is that?" You know? Then he also agrees to pay them. And these are friends of theirs through pizza and beer and other things.
So you got an angry mob of villagers.
Yeah, so there was 4 of them all together. So they go out there, and he goes, Bubba Dunn told him that I was going to buy him pizza and I was going to give him beer. He's like, and I don't really feel comfortable with these guys out there running around on my property with guns and drunk and with beer. And he said, so they show up, it's 4 people. And they're all, he goes, they are not, so out of their mind. He's like, I look at them, I thought they were high. They were so drunk. Now, I don't know if he knows the difference between drunk and high. He doesn't do anything. And I said, so were they high? He goes, no, they were just drunk out their minds, drunker than Cruder Brown. And one of them shot his gun in the air and said, "We're going to go do this," like he goes, man. I'm like, this is crazy, man. This is not some, grand adventure. This is the beginning
of Walk Hard. Ain't nothing bad going to happen today.
Walk Hard, yeah. So he was telling me this, and he says, look, I had to go out there into the brush. And he goes, so we went by the tank. Okay, because in between the first sighting with his grandson, his other grandson, the younger one, had gone out there fishing with one of his friends when he restocked the tank, and they saw one of these creatures come up over the hill, go down to the tank, and take a drink of the water. Now, that one looked like probably, he thinks it's the same creature that his first grandson saw. Werewolf looking, had horns. Now, I asked him about these horns, and I sent him some pictures of what I thought that might be the horns on this thing. Look kind of like a wildebeest's horns. That's the closest he could come. That's what he chose. And I said, okay, so this thing looks kind of like a wildebeest. The horns on its head. The werewolf-looking creatures also had what looked like a mane on their back. I think that there was another, and that hyena creature was seen again. That was not a one-time thing. One of his neighbors that lives a few miles down the road almost hit one of these things running across the road. He said that it was not on all fours. It was like running on 2 legs and then had a third, like the front, which should have been a leg, was like an arm, and it was carrying what looked like a dead raccoon in its other arm. And they saw it, and it ran across the road, not him, but his neighbors. And so him and his neighbors were comparing notes. They had some livestock come up missing. They had a horse that got mauled. They blamed it on coyotes, of course. He said, dude, the thing is, though, at this time, there were no coyotes out there at all. He said there used to be a pack of coyotes that were always out there. You had to be real careful. Every now and then he'd pick one off because they'd try to go after his livestock. Now, this is Texas, and these people are ranchers. He said the hogs disappeared. The coyotes disappeared. He's like, at night, it was weird. You'd be there in the summertime, and you would hear no noise. Nothing. Like no crickets, no birds chirping. He goes, you go outside. He goes, where do you live? I said, I live in the city. He goes, well, you probably wouldn't understand. I said, no, I lived 15 years out in the country. First 15 years of my life. I was talking to John Bell about that earlier. He grew up out in the country too. First 15 years of his, just same thing, just like me. Weird. But he said, dude, didn't hear anything. He's like, imagine you're out in the country, in the summertime, there's cicadas. We hear them. They do that, Is that a good impression of a cicada?
I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to do an impression of a cicada.
It's an unnatural noise.
I don't know how to do the cicada. I don't know if that's a cicada either. I don't know. Anyway, we try to do it. But anyway, what gets me is, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Thank you, guys. We're trying to get our algorithms back on track with these people mass reporting every video we do. And it doesn't matter, whether we say anything or don't say anything. They were reporting every video whether we said anything about them or not, so it doesn't really matter. So, but anyways, folks, this He said there was nothing, no cicadas, no. I mean, you couldn't hear nothing. He said sometimes you'd hear the bullfrogs out there in the tanks. You know, he had 2, 3 tanks out there. 2 closer to the house and 1 further out, further far flung. All of his livestock was gone. He's like, dude, I didn't know what to do. And then his neighbors were experiencing something, you know, and the county's just like, oh, well, it's just coyotes. And he said, I got upset. I got real upset, and I told the county, I was like, do you hear anything out here? He goes, do you hear anything? He's like, there's no sound. It's this. He said the silence was deafening.
Yeah.
He's like, I've heard this saying. He's like, and I believe it now. He goes, silence is deafening. And I said, that's correct.
Yeah, when it's not supposed to be silent, it's definitely, yeah.
He said, I go out there to my truck at night. You know, I go over to my girlfriend. He has a girlfriend. And he would go visit her. And he goes, I'd go out to the truck and I'd hear nothing. Had 3 dogs, only 1 left. She started keeping him in the house.
Jeez.
So get this. He goes to his girlfriend's one night. He comes home about midnight. He says, I go in the house. I put my cowboy hat up on the rack like I always do. Start to take off my boots, and I hear this whining, whimpering noise. And this is really hard to hear, okay? He goes to the back area where he hears the sound, and his dog is laying there, still kind of wagging his tail, but he can't get up. And when he tried to touch it, the dog started yelping. And the dog couldn't move. Just kind of moved its tail and its head. He couldn't move anything else. The tail looked like it was almost like involuntarily doing it. It was weird. He said that I knew at that point that this thing, whatever they were, they had hurt my dog. It turns out that they had broken his back and left him there. So that part right there really got me. And he said, he goes, they didn't take it like they did the other ones. He goes, but I think it was my favorite dog. He's like, he was a 7-year-old lab mix, you know, and he was a good boy. So that I'm an animal lover, folks. As you guys know, I bring my pets on the show sometimes and show you.
Yeah, and you can hear them in the live streams at home sometimes.
Yeah, they're
making a bunch of noise.
always out there making noise. But I love them. I love animals. But this really got to me when he said that. If there's any doubt about these creatures and the nature of these creatures. I couldn't imagine that happening to my animals. But he said, dude, they had to have come in my house or opened the door somehow. He goes, I was locking my house up at that point. He's like, I don't know how my dog ended up outside. And I told him, I said, do you have any reason to believe that these things are not 100% flesh and blood? And he said, yeah, I do. I said, what makes you think that? One day, he was out feeding the fish out one of his tanks. And he said that he sees this creature come down over the hill and look at him and stare at him and then crawl down on like a spider crawl. And that was his own word. It was his word, spider crawl. Thank you for that donation, Arturo. We appreciate it. And then it began to lap up water with a hand, like a man. And he's like, I'm sitting here staring at this thing. This guy doesn't walk around with a picture phone. He had a flip phone. It wasn't whatever. I told him it probably wouldn't have mattered anyway, that you can't really photograph them. But this thing came down and it was drinking water. Then it goes into the tank. And he's thinking, what in the hell is going on here? When it goes into the tank, it doesn't come back out. He said it goes under the water, it submerges itself. And he said the middle of that tank was pretty deep. He dug it pretty deep. It says here, Josh, do you know about anything about dogman encounters next to a residential building in Ohio, next to a federal park? Apparently people would see a dogman on 2 legs running through the dumpster, running back into the park. No, I don't. I mean, I get stories like that all the time, but not. I mean, people are always sending us stuff. Have you guys read any stories like that? In Ohio, a federal building?
No, I haven't come across it.
I don't think so. Thank you for that, though. If you got the story, send it to me. I'd be willing to tell it. But anyway, this guy went out there, and he said the thing didn't come up. He goes, I went back to my ATV, got my rifle, and I was like, I'm done. These things, I'm not playing. He's like, if it comes up, it's gone. I'm getting rid of it. At least trying. Never came back up out of the water. And so I had to ask the question. I said, well, that doesn't prove, that it's not flesh and blood. I said, but I said, what did it when it went down into the water, did it eventually, do you think, he goes, I sat there for an hour. He's like, I was determined. I went around the creek, around the tank looking. On one end of the tank was kind of like a incline, and he kind of walked up onto the hill, and he was standing there looking, and he was watching his back too, because there's a tree line right there. Nothing. It never came out. This creature was about 6 foot tall, wasn't real massive. He was kind of skinny.
Yeah.
Werewolf with horns. That's the way he described it. Never came back out. I said, well, what if it drowned? And he goes, how's it going to drown? And I said, yeah, you're right. I'm trying to figure out any kind of way that this could have happened. No body floated to the top. Nothing came out and was like, hey, this is it didn't do anything that would tell you that this is a physical creature, like a flesh and blood creature.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it was absolutely not flesh and blood, because a flesh and blood creature would have produced, if it drowned, there would be something floating.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I knew that this is not a normal thing, not a normal creature. But I still had to ask. And then, of course, you when you ask enough questions, sometimes people get a little offended. And he was like, I get the impression you're not believing me. I said, that is not it at all. And this, Cole. We talked. I do believe you. I just have to make sure that, there's the bases are covered. So there's, we know what we're dealing with.
Yeah, Easy Win says that water is a good portal medium.
Talk, you on the camera.
Oh, yeah. So, I think that's the first thing I thought was that. Well, okay, if it didn't go into a tank, then I would think, okay, maybe there's like a cave system in that has an underwater entrance. Like if it disappeared like into a lake or something, that's what I would think. But this is like just like a tank on someone's private property, and a tank is man-made. Like they scooped it out themselves and made it so that there's probably not like a cave system for it, like a cave entrance for it to disappear into. But a portal, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Makes sense to me.
I think it's pretty clear that water has some very unique abilities that we still haven't really entirely discovered yet. So, would it be possible that when they went in there, it did something using it to escape entirely, I believe, as far as I'm concerned. I just, a werewolf with horns sounds so bizarre. It sounds like this fantastical creature.
Well, they all sound like fantastical creatures, but
Yeah, but
it's
some
like
of them sound like kind of make sense.
Saying, though, it's like that's like the weirdo amongst weirdos.
Yeah.
It stands
it's like
out even more.
Basquatch. It's just like those things that like even among like nature, it doesn't make sense because it's like two opposing creatures mashed together real quick, and you get that with chupacabra as well, where it's just like this weird blend of like random stuff, and it just kind of boggles you.
Yeah, Bradford Johnson and Sean Murphy, they're both saying water and mirrors are gateways. Which that makes sense, because when people do that whatever magic where they
scrying.
Yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous. I don't promote or adhere to those kind of things. Why would you do those?
Yeah.
And I know there's people in this chat that probably, I'm just going to tell you right now, you're playing around with stuff like that. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, it's
We've told so many stories about Ouija boards and people doing all kinds of stuff, and It always ends up bad. So the story, and this is the focal point of what we're talking about tonight here, this one particular story. Thank you for that donation. Chess, you're a donating machine tonight. What's going on, man? Did you win big at the races, or did you?
Did you hit the lotto? I don't know if y'all have that in Canada, but maybe
Thank you,
something
though.
like
You're
that.
a nice guy, Jachesh. We appreciate it.
Yeah. MVP.
So hold on one second.
What are you trying to do?
Oh, I'm trying to look like I'm OCD and crazy.
Oh, okay. Well, you keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good
Okay.
job. Okay. There you go.
Now there's liquid inside of this. It goes in there because of the cooler,
Uh-huh.
and it's leaking all over the place.
Oh. That makes sense.
I'll just put it over here.
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, is he trying to take the wrapper off? He's...
No. But here's the thing, folks. And we got into some weird stuff, me and this guy. His friend John wasn't lying. He said this guy's got some stuff he can tell you. Now, I actually did get to talk to his oldest grandson. And he told me the description of the creature he saw. And we're going to get into that. Pretty much identical to the one that they saw come down and take a drink with its hands or whatever. But different than the one that he saw where it went into the tank and it disappeared. That one was skinny and scrawny. The one that they saw come down and take a drink, the grandsons and their friend. Of course, now these are kids, they're not children, like little children, but they're young teenagers, whatever. They probably, maybe to them, this creature was really big. But then to Cole, that the creature was not big. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe because a child's perception of what is a big person is not the same as an adult's perception of a big person. You're like, that person's a giant. They're 5'10". You know what I mean? But to an adult, they're gonna be like, that's not a big person. That's an average height. Whatever. So maybe it was one of those things. I don't know. One of the grandsons, though, told me, he said that the creature that he saw had a humongous, cartoonish, almost freakish-looking, oversized mouth. It did not look natural. It looked like something that was, you wouldn't expect to see something like this, okay? It was very unnatural looking. The other thing that happened, they had a neighbor that hit a deer. Now, this was in the next county over. And when they hit that deer, they ended up going off the road. You okay?
Yeah.
What happened?
This chair's
You're
acting funny.
The chair's acting funny, or are you breaking it?
Probably a little bit of
Looks like
both.
you're breaking it, dude. It's a freaking. So anyway, when it ran them off the road when they hit this deer, and when they went to go look to see the damage on the vehicle and see if the deer was, because quite frankly he was going to put it out of its misery. These two creatures come up out of the woods. They didn't see horns. They saw just what looked like two, I'd say, dogmen, just straight up werewolf-looking creatures grabbed this thing, and they just grabbed it immediately, like they were waiting. So I asked him, I said, you need to ask that neighbor, which I didn't talk to them. And he said, I will. I said, ask him for all the details. When he did get back to me about the details, this was our second conversation. He went over a lot of stuff. He said the details of that, and correct me if I'm wrong. If you got my number, you can text me if I'm not saying it correctly. I know you're listening. The details of what happened to them. They were black, all black, very wolf-like, not hyena-like, didn't have horns. They were just straight up werewolf-looking creatures. They grabbed it. They tore it apart, like tore it in two, and then just took off with it. And what they told Cole was that they think, and this thing was being chased by them, and that they stopped and let it get hit by the vehicle. Probably didn't think that these people were going to pull over and try to do anything about what had just happened. I don't know these people, but they obviously are very normal when it comes to the fear. They didn't sit around and try to like, oh, let's get a better look. No, they got in their truck and they took the heck off. And it was a husband and wife. And so they told them that these creatures, that was the first time they had seen them, but it wasn't the last. There was another incident where they were out in their yard and they have a big yard. He said they're one of those people that have this big, nice house out in the middle of nowhere, but they still have a pretty yard. Nobody looks at it, but it's still pretty. I mean, there's people like that. He goes, He's like, he's always on his riding lawnmower. He said a couple weeks later, he was on his riding lawnmower. This is the neighbor. Well, it's several miles down the road, but it's a neighbor. In Texas, there's like plots of land, and you don't have a neighbor for miles, and you have another neighbor. That's kind of how it is out there. And this is in the early 2000s, by the way. All this when this happened. This one, anyway. So he's on his riding lawnmower, and he sees something at the tree line, and he looks, and there's something squatted down, and it's got one arm up on a tree branch, like it's holding on, and even squatted down. This is how big this thing was. It was squatted down. He said it was about 6 foot tall, squatted down. And the other arm was down like this. And then he said that it started to stand up, and he turned his lawnmower and started heading straight back to the house, going in the garage. And he sat there. He's like, I sat there with my pistol, and I kept looking back, and the thing didn't move. He said, I got into the house, still hadn't moved. And I went out there, I looked at it with binoculars, still hadn't moved. He said when it stood up, he said it was probably 9-10 feet tall. Whew. Very Sasquatchy looking. It wasn't the werewolf-looking creatures, okay? But, I mean, to me, it's all part of the same thing that's going on in that area, you know? The thing that really got me, too, though, was his grandson's encounter. His grandson had a friend who also had an encounter when he was driving around with some friends. They were running around in the middle of the night, and he was, I don't agree with it, but it's a 16-year-old, and he had a Mustang, and he was driving way too fast, and they were driving around the gravel roads out there. But my friend Keith used to do it. You know you did, Keith. You used to do the same thing with your Mustang.
It's always a great idea. Get a teenager a sports car.
Yeah. And so driving like bat out of hell, going crazy. And so his friend was driving around going crazy, whatever, and they see this, what looked like a Bigfoot, just step out out of the ditch and onto the road. They said it was about 8-9 feet tall. And they just swerved and went off onto a ditch and then went back up onto the road. And by the time they got back onto the main road, they were leaking oil and everything. Probably, I think they busted their oil pan. And that was about 4 miles from this other guy's where he saw this Bigfoot. And those people also saw the dogman creatures carry off that deer. So you got all this weird stuff going on. You're going like, what's going on over here? These are reports coming out of this area. Like I'm telling you, this is, you know, and we had a lot of them that went on and on and on. I mean, there was some more that we got. And you see, one case can lead to another. If you do your footwork and you do your homework, I was on the phone with David Wedley the other day. And we were talking about these reports of these different, because he gets reports in this area, so do I. That's how Aaron Deese and I wrote our books simultaneously and didn't even step on each other's toes. We didn't even have to share witnesses. I mean, he had so many, I had so many. There were so many.
Yeah.
I mean, it became like we had to pick which ones we were going to use. There were just so many. We weren't looking for them. There were just so many coming in and have been for so long. Now, I'm going to say something here. Wizard and Shadows. Thank you for that donation. There was a guy, and he's one of these, the whatever they are, the Filthy Four. He's one of them, or the Filthy Five, whatever they are now. He made a stupid, silly thing and said that Texas was a food desert. Okay? Have you been here? I mean, I'm assuming you go here quite a bit. I know you go to one place in Texas. What are you talking about? When he made that, he was trying to basically say that there was a migration pattern that comes up from Mexico, which I thought was the dumbest thing ever. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And he takes it and it goes all the way up and around. It's some sort of, he called it a food desert. The Texas is a food desert.
So basically, like there's no werewolves, dogmen in Texas.
Yeah, basically, Texas doesn't have any until you get into the east and over there where he's at.
Wow.
Oh, how convenient.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, this guy is the most full of crap. At that moment right there, I began to know that you were full of crap. because you come up with the most outlandish, most ridiculous things, folks. Anybody who researches in Texas, Aaron Deese, myself, Ken Gerhardt, Lyle Blackburn, Nick Redfern, David Weatherly, any of these people that research will tell you, okay? We get tons of reports here. Art Vyers, he's the head of the IDP here now, used to be the NADP. He lives in Austin Colonies right here. Any and all these people can tell you this is not a food desert. I don't know what in the hell he's talking about. This guy has some serious issues, dude. I mean, seriously, I can't even tell you about this guy. I don't even know what makes this guy tick. I don't even know where he gets off with his ridiculousness.
One of the biggest beef exporting states in the
entire country.
Yeah, is a food desert for Dogman.
Yeah, there's nothing to eat there. They go all the way around, and you wouldn't believe how many people were like buying into this food. That's like the food pyramid. Let's eat a bunch of carbs, and then some protein, and then because the bottom of it needs to be based in a bunch of,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like the food pyramid, and this guy made the food desert. And I'm not making this up, folks. He called it the food desert but you got to remember though too, when you're not playing with the whole, there's no telling what you're liable to come up with and say. And when you're doing this as a business, you want to discredit people around you. You take subtle shots, and then he does all this passive aggressive stuff, which he was doing for a long time. I'm not passive aggressive. I'm just going to come out and say it. I think you're dumb. I think you're stupid. I think your food pyramid desert whatever is stupid. It was a dumb, stupid thing. Just one of many dumb, stupid things that they've done. Anybody who researches here, okay? There have been a lot of people who've come here to Austin, and I've taken them around and shown them some of these spots, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay? There's no food desert here. I don't know what he's talking about, food desert. I think he may be referring to the north, maybe north up there, maybe. I know he's not, but he's referring, whatever. There's plenty of them things to eat here. Okay? Believe me. If you're looking at them from a physical standpoint, which I guess he was. These things, first of all, they don't need nourishment like we do. But when you go and you look at where, like the DFW area, like where the conference was held, if you're not from here, that area is kind of flat, and maybe that, I don't know. But there's still a lot of cattle around, so I don't know what he's talking about. There's deer and hogs everywhere. Even in the deserty area, which is way out in the west, like the Panhandle, that's a desert. There's hogs out all over the place out there. This is no food desert. I don't know what he's talking about. So that's really weird to me. Because somebody, and this came up the other day. It was like maybe a month before this whole thing started with these people where they, and they were like, well, isn't Texas a food desert? And I'm like, I'm tired of hearing that because that's somebody's ridiculous statement that he made. I'm surprised he had the energy to even make that. He doesn't really do much like he does other than the AI stuff. But it's crazy when you sit there and you look at this situation, like what this guy was going through. It was not just him. It wasn't just happening to him. It's happening to other people in the area. And these creatures, they feast on their animals or whatever, the life force in some way or another. Because sometimes they'll find animals that are dead, and there's no cause for what killed them. We don't know why they're deceased. They're just dead. There's no, like, their hearts just stopped. But it's weird. And then sometimes they'll see them with big old bites taken out with all their innards gone. I posted a picture. Well, I usually don't post pictures. I don't like doing that, but it was one on Bettina's show I did. And so this shirt is so uncomfortable right here. It keeps riding down. Sorry, folks. And so that was one of the things that I looked at, like where a lot of these predations are taking place. A bunch of them were happening near Bryan College Station area. There was a bunch of them near Giddings. Caldwell, I think it was, Lexington. Mm-hmm. If I'm missing any places, other side of Houston, on this side of Houston too. I mean, like, it was weird. I mean, Brenham was another area where people were getting the Washington County, whatever. Or I'm sorry, was it Brazos? I think it's Brazos. What county is that? Look up Brenham's County. I know the whole town. All right. But you can look it up real quick and tell me. It's called Washington on the Brazos, that area.
City and county seat of Washington County. Yeah.
Washington County. That's where the Texas Declaration of Independence was signed. So you have all these different people who've given you stories about the predation that's happened on their animals. There are people who found coyotes. I think Eric Palacios talked about one of them being found with was like tied in a knot. This one rancher told us that was the guy out near Brenham. Actually, he told us that, or not, it was near Chapel Hill. Well, it kind of near. That was the closest settlement, I guess. But he said that there was, back in the 80s, they had found an entire pack of coyotes that had been just ripped apart. Ripped apart. He didn't say that they had just died.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, this guy, what was going on over here, and this wasn't like in Cameron, it was out on the outskirts, or out. It was actually, this guy was further away from that. There was hardly any civilization out there where he was at. It was such a dramatic event for him, and he just got really tired of it, and so he sold his place and moved on. And now he lives out in West Texas, but. When this whole thing started, he said, dude, I was rolling. I had everything going. I was doing really well. He was a widower. His wife had passed away from cancer. Very nice guy. I believe him. I have no reason to not believe what he was telling me. And he was saying that, the worst thing he had to deal with out there was coyotes and hogs, and it just, they were gone. And the deer were gone. The cattle he had disappeared. And he couldn't catch whatever it was that was doing it. He tried setting up cameras in certain spots. Of course, the technology wasn't as good at that time, but still. And it was not picking up anything. And then the cameras would just turn off. They would just turn off. He said he got one wispy image of something that he saw on the corner of one, and then that was it. But one of the things he saw on that property, this was prior to these creatures showing up, and one of the things he saw on that property that really disturbed him, and it's really messed up to me, he would see what looked like people that would be walking around at the edge of the property. And then they would just kind of go into the tree line. And a couple times he followed them, like he drove out there with them to confront them. Like, what are you doing on my property? And he saw a woman come out in like a period clothing. Like it looked like she was from the 1800s or something. She came out and she was like wringing her hands, washing or whatever, wiping her hands with a towel, And he said, I drove out there and she turns and goes into the woods and I watched her just disappear. And I meant, I asked him, I said, do you mean that she just went into the woods and disappeared into the woods? He goes, no, she just went into the woods and was like, whoosh. She was gone. She vanished. Now, I asked him this too. I said, did you ever see any UFOs? He said, no, but I saw balls of light in the sky. Because that's pretty much UFOs.
Yeah.
But I don't really think he understood what I was saying. I don't mean just like spacecraft or what you would deem as what people think of as a UFO. They see a disc thing,
Yeah.
I told him, I said, unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP. And he was like, yeah, I saw balls of light moving around. I saw them in the woods. He's like, I had seen those for a long time. These creatures that showed up, they didn't show up until way later. That was at the last few years of his stay there. They scared him enough, though, to where he had to start shutting his outbuilding door, close it up when he was working on a vehicle. I mean, it changes everything. Changes your whole life. Yeah, it does, Barry. You're right. One of the things that gets me about this whole situation, too, the whole story, which really bothered me, the thing with the dog or whatever, but the same thing had happened to some of the people in the area that were living there at that time. People's pets, like, missing. There were people like this one neighbor that he didn't even know he had. They lived further down. They'd only been there for about a year, and he was like, I didn't know everybody. I knew most of the people in the area, but it's a big area. And this one guy came with his little girl, and she was missing her puppy.
Yeah.
And it was very sad, and they never found it. That was another thing that really aggravated him, and it aggravates me. The description of one of these horned werewolf-looking creatures, the one that came up to the window of his grandson. Smart kid. Grab that shotgun real quick. You have to defend yourself. Some people say, "Oh, well, they're just going to kill you and destroy you. You can't do nothing to them, whatever." You can't sit there and just let them do it. You got to try. I mean, this guy was, it was just him at the house. What's he going to do? He can't just sit there and let it kill him, But the description that I got, and this guy's a grown man now. He's not a little kid anymore, but he said it was like red glowing eyes, and he saw them moving like a shadow, and he could see them moving back and forth, kind of like that, and like they were getting closer and closer, like it was walking. He looks out the window and he's like, "What am I looking at?" And he gets close and he sees this like this. It just looked like a werewolf, like an actual living, breathing werewolf. It looked like a flesh and blood werewolf. He said, but it had little horns on its head. And he said, "Dude, I was staring at this thing," and he goes, "and I didn't know what to do. I had this shotgun, and I was like, I'm just going to shoot it. I mean, I don't know what else to do." He said, "When the thought hit my mind, this thing began to move." So he asked me a question, which I thought was interesting. He said, "Do you think these things can read your mind?" And I said, "I don't know. I've heard people say that." Do I know that they can do that? I have no idea. Do I think that it's possible? Yeah, I do. Just like evil spirits, we were talking to somebody about an exorcism the other day. They heard our story about the Brazilian exorcist, and they said, "Look, I got one. I'm going to tell you." So they were giving us the story. These creatures, these beings, entities, whatever, they could read your mind. Your mind is just, it's leaking information out there into the ether. What does that say? "Holly, if the pudding is lined with nilly wafers, I'm on my way."
I'm talking about banana pudding.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind you guys talking about different types of things or whatever, but it does kind of take away or distract from the chat, and I've been told that we should try to keep it on point or whatever. I don't mind you guys talking about stuff, but if it helps if it's more based on what we're talking about. Like I said, don't take it the wrong way, but I just kind of want to keep people on point here. If you got any questions or anything, feel free to ask. So what is Junior talking about? Something about he had a story.
He said, "Josh, it's a Nawale. The same thing as a dog man. My grandpa from Mexico would tell me he would see this dog type creature run from the woods, and all the dogs in the area would start to cry."
No, I didn't know that was actually the Noella. Does it have horns? Because I don't remember ever reading anything about it being a horned creature. Oh, Barton, thank you for asking that. How is the PRT board game coming along, Wolf? Yeah, and we were set and ready to go, but this situation that came up with these people, we're probably going to have to redirect our funds for legal purposes, and decide what they're going to do. These other devils, if they're going to, much easier to play defense. So I'm just going to wait and see. So it's on hold. The game is done. It's ready to go. We've already been quoted at a price to mass produce it. It is Nellie's project. I wanted to give it a GoFundMe, or what do you call it? A
Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. Yeah, we were told that it would probably do really well. See, we produce things here at PRT. Unlike some people in this community that don't do anything but take and lie. Matt Acosta, Wolf, any gargoyle creatures in the Houston, Texas area? I had gargoyle stories, yeah, but do we have anything on board from? I don't think so. From Houston,
That we've got recently from Houston with gargoyles.
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
We could go back and look and see though. I'd be willing to do that for you if I could find my files in the computer.
When was the last time we got a gargoyle story?
The Odessa Permian one, I think.
Yeah.
I think that one was the last one. That's a weird one too because, okay, I got another story, but let me finish this one because that reminds me of that. I just read that one. Oh, geez, I'm old. I always say the other day. That's probably about a month ago. we were at the Anthony's at my sister's house, and it was her birthday, and kids were running around, and one of them, she's a sweetheart. That's what's his name, Pepe's daughter.
Daughter, yeah.
And she tells me, Uncle Wolf, she's like a long time ago, and she starts telling me and Nellie, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, I look at Nellie, it's like a long time ago. I'm like, what is she, 8? I think she's 8 years old, right? I said, you're 8, Riley, you're 8. I don't think there's no long time ago for you. I said, Uncle Wolf remembers the other day, and you're talking about 1997. You're like, I remember the other day I was, and you're like, oh, geez, you're 20 years ago, but you're so old you forget it, right? And then there's people that'll be like, don't say you're old because you're in your 40s. You think you're old. No, I'm just saying for somebody that's 8 years old or even 18 years old, I'll say even 18, maybe even 28 years old, you guys, that's not old. That you're remembering the other day, you're remembering something that happened in high school. I'm remembering the other day, and it's like, it's 30 years ago. I remember the other day when the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. How about that? I remember that. It was 28 years ago. I remember when they didn't throw flags and they let them play. How do you remember that? I remember that. But, so yeah, that is, we can talk about that one, the gargoyle one, because it involved a hyena-type creature, too. It was very weird. Doxy Lowrider says, Wolf, did that person explain what the horns on the dogman creature looked like? Were they showed? Yes, they did. I talked about it earlier, Dox, in case you didn't hear. They described them. I showed them some pictures of different horns, and they were rejecting them. Nah, it didn't look like a bull. It didn't look like this. Wildebeest horns. Do we got a picture of a wildebeest you could put up maybe? Something that's not.
We got a picture of a beast right there.
Try.
Oh, he's leaving.
Oh yeah, we got a picture of a beast right here.
Oh yeah.
Look. He didn't get the flex.
No,
He didn't get the flex. He didn't get the.
Okay, look. I said, yeah, we got a picture of a beast right here. Now let's see what you got. The wimp.
You guys, man. Tony's got a humongous head, though. He's got all those brains, dude. He's got a lot of brains. And me and him are experts, right? I don't know why you keep denying that. We've already told everybody we're experts, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Tony works out at the library. He doesn't have to lift weights.
He's smart.
He works out his mind.
He's good looking, too, right, Tony? You're the face.
Anthony's just kind of angry.
You're the face of the show, right? You always say.
He has to work on himself because he knows that he doesn't have anything else.
Yeah, exactly. That's what and he's mean. People don't know how mean Anthony is. Like,
Just mean-spirited people just really focus so much on, it's not about inner strength or anything like that. It's just he just wants to look good. You see how he flexed. He didn't say, oh, I could press this much, or oh, I could do all that. He just flexed because he cares about the look of it.
Right.
I care more about substantial
Substance.
things. Yeah,
Spiritual.
So, you care about strength and spirit.
Okay, well,
I care about mental fortitude.
Let's
and
talk
spirit.
about your strength, Tony.
Mental fortitude.
He just said it was mental fortitude, man. Why are you always attacking this guy?
He's
All right,
so
here we go.
rude.
He's my co-expert.
Very
Here's a
petty.
picture of here's a real beast right here. the wildebeest.
So that's
That's the wildebeest horns.
the horns. Yeah, the horns were described to me as being curved and kind of smaller. That they kind of fit on top of the head, and they kind of went like that. Not as big and wide as the wildebeest, but the picture I sent him was not like that one, but it was similar. The horns. That's the one that they chose that were the closest to what they saw. Now, there could have been, some horns. You can take that off. There could have been some other ones that were, because one of the guy's girlfriends, one of the grandson's girlfriends, claimed that when she was little, she was playing, and this was on the other side of the county, but still same area, big areas, but it's nothing for these creatures, I don't believe. She was playing with her friends, and they were throwing rocks to see who could throw the rock the furthest into the creek from where they were at. They kept moving back and moving back. And then she said this thing came down and got down into the creek and was wading across. Weird story right here. Okay. What Christina says, that's her name, this girl, it was his girlfriend. I heard her talking back. Well, I talked to her a little bit. She was on the call, like kind of on the call when I was talking to the grandson. One of the things that she said, though, when she was little, that when this creature came out, she said, I thought it had on like a raggedy shirt. No BS. She said, and the head looked kind of like a cow's head, is what she said. As a little kid, they thought it was a cow, but it had big old teeth, and it had like hair hanging down below its chin. I was like, beyond that, I don't remember it. She's like, I just remember seeing this, like what they called the bull man or the cow man, come wading across the creek that had gotten a lot of water in it. And she's like, we didn't tell our parents because we weren't supposed to be down there because it had rained and that creek was moving pretty fast. She's like, and as a 7-8-year-old child that she was, and her little sister was 6 and the older sister was 9. There were 3 girls and they were all out there throwing rocks, and there were some neighbors, two neighbor kids, a boy and a girl. And they were all out there and they weren't supposed to be down there, so they didn't tell their parents until later on. And so when we started talking, he says, "Hey, I want you to tell him the story." And so when she told me this story, she was like, "Look, I'm going to tell you." It was just, she was kind of there on the phone with him, you know. And it was like a raggedy shirt. She said, like it was like somebody who had not changed their shirt and it was starting to fall off of them. And so I asked her, I was like, "How big was it?" She said, "Probably about 6-7 foot tall. You know, like taller than a tall man. It wasn't it wasn't really overly large, just the average size, but it had horns." Her description, though, did not match his. They'd both seen horned creatures, miles apart from each other, but not, it was close enough for there to be a connection for sure. But the thing that really got me about her story as opposed to his story was that she remembered it. And this could be because this is a child's memory of it or whatever, a really young person, as opposed to an older when he saw his, like I think he was like a mid-teen, something like that. So his mind is more developed. He can remember it better, whatever. He said that he didn't think it was the same thing. But she said, "Oh, I think it is, because the one I saw had teeth or whatever," and then they began to argue. Not like, shut up. Not like Alabama man hits her with a bowling ball. No, they were arguing. And anybody see South Park where he's like, "I thought I told you to shut up." That's not, no, we're not talking about that. They did get into like a disagreement, though. They were like, "Are you sure?" And they started kind of going back and forth. So the description, she gave the description the best she could. I do believe that they were seeing something very similar. It was... trying to think off the top of my head if we have any stories of like Minotaur type stories. Now, I did, when we talked about the Minotaur and we showed that photo from the Vatican, whatever that was, which still hasn't been debunked. I'm sure that.
I even did a reverse image search on it. It's nowhere on the internet.
It's not. But now that we talked about it, the whatever you call them, the frivolous 5 will probably go and try to debunk it somehow or whatever. Or what are we calling them now? Not the fantastic. I said it earlier. We got to come up with a name for them. The fearsome 5, whatever. They'll probably come up with a word.
Implies that they can inspire fear in anybody.
Well, they do. Not in me. Not in you. Not in him. But they've inspired fear in a lot of people. Mostly, helpless people. They inspire a lot of fear in them. They really do. You're not going to inspire fear in me.
We call them the intergender wrestling champions.
Yeah, the
like Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you. Yeah, they are definitely the intergender champions for sure. If you're a woman, you better watch it. Mm-hmm. And then they're so mad because I'm not quitting, which inadvertently they're jumping around demanding me to quit, made me stay. if you wanted me to leave, then don't say anything. Just let me walk away. But you were going to talk crap and do what you're going to do anyway. So might as well do the show, right? I mean.
Oh, he makes me so mad.
Mighty Mouse ruins everything. Oh, he makes me mad. I'm oil can Harry. Yeah, look. Also, if the Patreon right here, if you've done, it's a great way to support the show. We are still doing mail-offs for the Patreon. We're just having to put it on hold for the mail-offs. The Filthy Five. Thank you, Gil. Thank you so much. You had an encounter, too. We need to get to yours. Yours is pretty cool. Not cool for you, I know it wasn't, but it's a neat story. But this right here, the Patreon, is a good way to support the show. Anybody who wants to join, you can join from, $10 all up to $50?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
You can give
said
monthly. And we will give you, depending on whatever, just join and ask what you got coming. We'll give it to you. We finally had to stop the giveaways temporarily because we were advised that while somebody was claiming we committed a home invasion and they were saying, oh, they had my address, Yeah, that's what we do. We're going to gather your address so we can go and risk our lives.
just yours. We've never done anybody else.
Yeah. Just so we can go and go after you back in, the dates keep changing. I don't know. The names change. Or these people, they move the goalposts, folks, every day for us. We don't know what day. It's kind of like dealing with a crazed Roman Caesar. Like one day they get up, they just wake up and decree some crap, and you got to go, what? Today we're wearing purple togas? Yellow polka dots? It's like, we don't know what we're dealing with from day to day. I mean, we really don't.
What?
We're like, every day is in flux. I mean, I was talking to one of our associates the other day, and they're like, what new nightmare are they going to unleash today? And of course, they started firing off,
You want us to attack the sea?
It's just terrorism, dude. Give the sea the whip. What is it? Lashing the sea because Darius was it? No, it was Xerxes, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was
He was
Xerxes, I
mad at
believe.
the ocean.
There was also a Roman emperor that declared war against.
Yeah. Well, also Caligula went and he conquered the reeds.
I think that's what I'm talking about. He declared war against
He
Poseidon.
went and he hacked down the reeds. Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, we're not dealing with stable individuals. I'm not talking about their mental, spiritual, or physical. It's just all of the above. I don't know what is wrong with these people. They don't know how to keep their mouths shut. They love to talk, and then they keep on and keep on, and I got to do what I got to do too, man. I just try to do humor. They get so mad with the humor, And, we keep catching more snakes and more spiders that are lurking around. You got the one guy over there talking, man, I was in war, man. And he pretended like he was my friend and whatever. Yeah, he's back with them. He's got his reasons, folks. Don't be too hard. He got his reasons, but I don't give a crap. I don't believe you or anything you say. I don't believe none of your stuff. I don't give a crap. I'm 100% don't believe you. Don't believe you. Stop using stuff, dude. Just, make me sick. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Just stay away from me. And I'm not afraid of you either. I don't give a crap. You're a punk, and so are your friends. You're all punks. Bunch of punks. Punks! That's what you are. In fact, I wrote a song about it. It goes, you are all punks.
Is that punk rock?
It's punk rock. Yes, it is. I'm planning on patenting it. It's such a good song. It's so catchy. I'm just going to go around singing it. They're punks. I don't have anything else. That's as far as I've gotten, but I'm going to use AI to write the rest of it because it seems to be working for some of these fools, okay? And I'm sure he's going to be on there tonight firing off and saying something bad about me now that he's been outed for what he is. Look, the bottom line, you can fool some people, but you're not going to fool me. Sorry. Been a week now of shady behavior from people, okay? This whole situation, though, that happened with this guy and his property, and it came from another guy who had seen something, that's how it works, really, a lot of times. If you're planning on, and there's a lot of people who are aspiring podcasters, YouTubers, I'm just going to give you one piece of advice. Don't, because it's a nightmare. I'm joking, folks. Don't let these haters, don't let these goofy people, they're goofy. That's the only way I could describe them is they're very goofy. They're goofy people. Don't let them discourage you from doing what you do. Look, when you're going to talk to somebody and you get a story from somebody, don't just ask them if they know anybody in their area who's seen something too, because a lot of times one story from somebody or an encounter will lead to a series or a bunch of other stories. says here, my husband also sees Anubis. He's not scared of him. Just sees him at night by our bed. Anybody see Anubis also? There's people that see them. Can you please get in touch with me with that story so I could figure out something with that and see what we got there?
Yeah, the email address to send your stories is right there scrolling at the top of the screen.
Right above Wolf's head.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. Somebody mentioned that person's name. I'm just, I don't have time for traitors, man. I don't have time for double agents and all that. They can do what they're gonna do. I'm gonna release all the screenshots coming up here. It's just like with what's her name, who kept talking, accusing us of a home invasion. These people that are supporting them, that's how they got involved. They started supporting them, and these people were making outlandish claims, and they're like, "Well, I'm just gonna start giving them donations," because they wanted them to keep doing it. And then they claimed that it was all over a $20 donation. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't, Fatty. That's not what it was about, Fatty is Kong. That's not what it was about. No, you know that. Keep up with your lies and spinning and spinning and spinning. And you got your snake back. Take your pet. I don't want him. You can have him. He bites. He's a turd. Okay? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I don't give a crap. You want to shut me up? Come shut me up. Go ahead, do it. Let me see you try it. You think you're tough. You with all your stories. All right? Shut up. You're not. You're not tough. None of you are tough. You're all a bunch of punks, like I said. So, anyways, sending people to say all kinds of nasty crap and hacking into people's stuff and doing what y'all do, just reprobates, every one of you. You're not going to stop me. You're not going to beat me. PRT strong. PRT is going to be here. And as long as you don't want me here, I will be here. I'll probably leave. If you leave me alone, I'd probably eventually get, go. Because at this point, it's more trouble than it's worth. But as long as it's going to make you mad, I'm going to be around. How about that? I'm not going to give you what you want. Okay? You've had enough. So I'm going to be here. Sorry that this has to go on, folks, with these people, but the quicker they're drummed out of this whole community, the better. The better for everybody. No more war, backdooring people and doing what they do. I got no respect for any of you. I don't care what they say. People are like, oh, what if they do that? I wish you would. I don't give a crap. Okay? Come down here and find out. Keep on talking all this crap out of your damn minds. Saying the most outlandish thing. I don't like poor people. Shut up. Dude. He doesn't like people that live in trailers. He don't like Christians. He don't like, dude. Where do they come with this? Did this make up things off of the top of your freaking tongue, off the top of your mind? I mean, and anybody that listens to there's an easy one right there that's making up all kinds of war stories, man. Just shut up, dude. You're full of crap. You're full of crap, man. I had somebody listen to our conversation last night and the 3 different excuses you made for what you did. Don't even try it. And don't contact me anymore. Don't contact my wife. Stay away from us. You better stay away from us. That's all I'm going to tell you. Yeah. Folks, I got something that they're not going to want to have. Believe me. Just holding on to it. Just keep it up. Keep playing. It's all going to come out eventually. You keep messing with me. So the thing is, folks, I want to be able to sit here and make good quality content and do what I got to do and retell people's encounters and do what we got to do. But there's people, and if any, I'm in a zero crap tolerance policy right now. If you say something on this chat, okay, and I don't like it, you're gone, and that's it. Ban. Go listen to them. You'll be the poorer for it. Okay, you can try. Or I wish you the best of luck. Go listen to somebody that's worth the crap. It's not them. Okay. So I'm going to tell you right now, there's so much going on, and we have so much we've had to deal with that has just been a nightmare, folks. And so I got about, 10 more minutes, and we got to jump off. What this whole situation, though, that was going on with these people, what precipitate? I guess I should say this is the beginning. The beginning was his house did not, for all the years he lived there, he said he never saw a ghost or anything like that. But one day when he was watching TV, and this was back before these creatures showed up, And I say showed up because they did. They just kind of showed up in the early 2000s, and then that was it. He had been living there since the late 80s. Crazy situation, you know, when you are being, I guess, how do you say it? Like when you're under assault from these beings. He was sitting there and he was watching TV, and he says, dude, the back door, he had the screen door, you know, and there was the back door. He saw the screen door open and then close, like somebody had walked in. He goes, it was one of the weirdest things ever. And then one time he woke up in his bed and he heard like a really heavy breathing, which he thought was weird. Like he was just like, you know, there's a like something standing there breathing by his bed. And so he was like, he was of the opinion that there was something there that had been, you know, manifesting itself for a long time. And he was certain that it was, you know, something evil. It was demonic. It wasn't just a regular like ghost. He one time saw a guy walking, carrying an axe like below it, and was like, he walked right by, like him and two of his friends were, and this was during the stuff with these creatures. They were sitting there and they were talking about these creatures and what was going on. And they were in this outbuilding, this big metal outbuilding, and he saw this guy walk by with overalls and just had this weird, you know, just, he said the guy looked almost like a zombie, you know, he was just kind of walking and he was dragging an axe, but there was no sound, and they all just kind of ran up and they looked and he was gone. But he had two witnesses that saw it too. And his grandson said that the room that he stayed in where he had the encounter where the thing came up to him, it was a black creature with red eyes, horns, but had like a dog man, werewolf type face. He didn't call it a dog man. But he said in that room, about 2 or 3 years before that, he said when he was a kid, he had something grab his legs and try to pull him off the bed, and then he woke up. And he thought that that room was haunted, so there was something going on there already. Another time he had a couple of his buddies come over for a sleepover, and then they were out running around, riding on the four-wheelers and, you know, doing what they do, you know, shooting at frogs and whatever, you know, they call it frog gigging here in Texas, you know, and then they go to the creek and there's a little creek there. And then there's also a, what do you call it? A tank where they go and they drink out of, the animals do, whatever. And then at this point was like, what does it say? Oh, never mind. So anyway, they were sitting there in the room, getting ready to go to sleep because they'd had a long day of playing and running around, doing stuff, whatever. They were, you know, early in their early teens at that point. And they hear something boom, 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 walking from the hallway into the bedroom. When it got into the bedroom, it made this weird gurgling. They didn't say growling. It was like gurgling, like something was like in a death throes or something. Then they heard something go boom and fall. When this, whatever it was, fell, they could feel it like a vibration. So they all jumped up and they were like, what was that? And everybody's freaked out. And there's 3 of them, you know. And they turned the lights on. There's nothing there. So, I mean, there was things that led up to these creatures being there. Creatures didn't show up and then that was the beginning. And then it just, you know, no, there was something that precipitated that. And then, of course, this weird stuff was going on while it was happening. And the other thing that happened when Bubba it's his friend, was coming down his drive, he saw what he thought was a guy crouched down. And like the way he described it, that Bubba described it to Cole, was that he was crouched down and he was like in a runner's stance. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, he got up and took off running and the guy was naked. And then he like ran and went to the right and jumped over the barbed wire fence and was gone. Now, I've said this before. I've seen a naked guy run across a highway before, and it was just like, what the hell was that?
Trying to maximize their aerodynamic abilities.
You know, and then when you talk to, you know, he talked to the neighbors about what they saw when those 2 dogman creatures grabbed that deer carcass. Now, they were talking about how this thing ran out in front of the vehicle like it was being chased. So something was chasing this thing. Because they said it was like by itself, and then it just was like running, you know, and then boom, they hit it. But it was like they were right up on it, and they didn't even see it. Like there was nothing there. It was just, whoo, and it was out in front of them like it was being chased. So these things may have chased it into a vehicle. And when he got out with a gun, a large caliber gun, I guess maybe they thought, well, let's just not mess with him. and they were in the process of grabbing it, and they quickly turned and took off out into the brush. But yeah, we'll revisit this story. It's an ongoing thing now. You know, the place he moved to, which is only like 10, 12 miles away, he knows the people that moved in over there, and they're renting it out or something. So they've had different people that are living there, have lived there. He went back to get some of his things that were left in the outbuilding, and the people that were living there after that, and they lived there for about 3 years. But they got some stories, and they gave him. And so that property, I'm not saying it's like another Skinwalker Ranch or Hernandez Ranch or anything like that. I'm just saying there's some stuff going on out there that's been going on.
Yeah.
We got another one from some people that live outside of the San Gabriel area that it gave us some stories, and they said, hey, you know, this guy got in touch with me years ago, but he recently resurfaced and said, I got some stuff. You need to come out here and check it out. So we're going to take a trip out there and go check it out. We're going to go walk around his property and call it boots on the ground, okay, because that's what we do, right? Anyways, folks, thank you for tuning in tonight. Like I said, it's just, can you please just pray for us? We are literally under nonstop assault from these people. It never ends. It's just perpetual, and it doesn't matter what we say, doesn't matter what they say, they lie, and no agreement is going to be reached with these people because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And now that we found their snake and he's back in their fold or whatever, they're emboldened with him. They were trying to say that he emboldened me. Why would that guy embolden me? That's my answer, a question to you guys. What is that guy going to do? Mr. Flip-Floppy. Mr. Flippy Floppy. What do I care? Right? They talk a lot of crap too about how they're going to do this and they're going to do that. You know, if something happens, I mean, you know, it's pretty obvious. You know, I'm not going to you. You know, I got my things I got to take. I got a life here. I got a business to run, or businesses. These people, they don't do that. You don't work. You don't have to do anything. Folks, if I had their kind of time, I'll say this, I said it on the Facebook thing, I could conquer the world, okay? If I had you guys behind me and we could take the world and just turn it into a better place. But we don't have their kind of time. They have time to watch every video I make and scrutinize it and look for anything they can do to try to attack me. That's what they do. They literally do that. I don't watch their videos. I get people that come and tell me. I don't give them views. I don't give them views. If you guys want to go and look at the freak show that's going on with these people, the two from Oklahoma and this other fool over here in the swamp, you go ahead and look, okay? They keep saber rattling. If you're gonna sue me, then get busy suing it, son. Okay? Okay, boys? Little boys? Is that okay if I call you that? Boys to not men? How about that? If you're going to sue me, then sue me. Stop talking about it. Just do what you got to do. Or is it that you don't want to spend the money? Because suing people costs money. You think, yeah, it's expensive. Believe me, I know this. It's very expensive if you're going to sue. We're in the process of it right now with somebody else. You go ahead. Costs money to sue people. You can talk a lot of crap, but you better have money to back it up. And right now I'm pretty sure that the head honcho, his money is into saving somebody, saving their bacon so they don't look bad. Okay? You're not going to do anything. I dare you. I challenge you. You're not going to do nothing. You're going to be like Kevin Hart. You're going to sit there with that look. That you ain't going to do face. Okay? That's what you're going to do. You probably go look at yourself in the mirror right now. Go do it. Look at yourself. You ain't going to do nothing. And you need to tell yourself in the mirror, I'm a punk and I'm not going to do anything. You're not going to do nothing. Nothing. I'm going to be here all week, next week. The 100 years from now, I'll still be here. Okay? I don't care. I'll come back from the dead and do this. Just because you know you enjoy it so much. Okay? Folks, we have the best audience in the entire industry, the entire field, the entire, whatever you want to call it, the entire realm, okay, of whatever this is. Okay, they're always talking about the cryptid community. I'm a part of the cryptid community. I'm a part of the paranormal, whatever. They make a distinction between the paranormal and the cryptid, like there's some kind of difference. UFOs, whatever. I don't care. People tell you to stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Shut up. Who cares? Folks, I'm going to be here, okay, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. These people aren't going to stop me. Nobody has slowed down or said, "Oh, I'm not going to work with them." They're lying. They're saying that people don't want to work with me. That's the latest from the lie that they're telling. That there's all these people going, "Oh, I'm not going to go on his show. I don't want to work with him. He's controversial." Really? That hasn't happened. Nobody's told me no. Shut up. Stop lying. More lies. More lies. I'm going to go and do what I do, and I'm going to have fun doing it. Okay? And like I said, I do what I do, and I'm having fun doing what I do. And this one guy, he goes over there and says, "Yeah, I appealed to him. I tried to get him to stop. He said he's having too much fun." Like, that's not what happened. Another lie. The people that comment on their stuff, too, is all a bunch of lying people. They're making stuff up with them. If you have a leader that is a liar and a leader that is a cheat and a crook and a strong arm and whatever else, their listeners are going to be like that. They're going to be like them. Your listeners really are going to be a reflection of you. We have good people here at PRT because you gravitate toward what is good. The bad people gravitate towards what is bad. And there's all these people sitting on the fence that they don't want to get involved. They don't want to do this and do that. You can show them a mountain of evidence and they don't want to get involved. Don't get involved, but watch your six. Yeah, I affect their livelihood. They affected my livelihood by reporting all my shows. You know, that's another thing that I can actually prove that they have affected me financially. Have they not affected us financially?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Put yourself on the deal or whatever.
Well, I mean, like, the YouTube algorithm has just tanked us because you're just like mass reporting everything. I mean, like the idea was to get us some kind of copyright strike, which it didn't happen because we didn't get any kind of like notifications saying, "Oh, you got a copyright strike on this channel. You got to take this down. You got to take that down." The one imbecile, the oyster mouth imbecile was all like, my videos are, I've talked to someone at YouTube and I have been informed that my videos are copyrighted. That's copyrighted material, so you go report it and blah blah blah. He was talking about one show in particular, so I guess that one where we showed him throwing the rock and then claiming that, "Oh, what was that? What was that? Was that Bigfoot? Was that the Bigfoot that made that noise?" And you see him on camera throwing the rock. He claimed that was copyrighted. He doesn't know how copyright works. That's not. I'm not gonna explain it, but that's not how it works. Just because you say it, just because you say it doesn't mean that is what it is. So it didn't work, but it definitely tanked us with the YouTube algorithm. Because we're still getting subscribers, like we're gaining subscribers, but like we were gaining like 2,000 subscribers a month, and then it just goes down, down, down. But you know, that's a temporary setback. So that at best, like that's the best of what they've done. So yeah, bring it. Nobody cares, dude.
And they hurt Hellbent Holler with that too, and Bettina. They hurt me and my allies just financially, a little bit financially, but nothing devastating. And like I've said before, God knows me, knows the truth, knows all of us, knows our hearts. And if I walked away from this, it would hurt, it would suck, and it did hurt, because we were going to walk away and just, and then, I don't know, everything just kind of fell into place, and then we came to an agreement about the lease and everything, and we're just like, you know what, we're going to, because right now we're just taking it day to day, week to week. It's all we can do. But I'll say this. If we walk away from this, it's not going to hurt us overall. We can just walk away. They're fighting tooth and nail because they're frauds and all they have. That's all they have. If they walk away, they don't have anything. That's all they do. You can't start a YouTube channel. Folks, I'm going to tell you this, and this is for everybody out there. Listen to what I'm going to tell you. You cannot start a YouTube channel and then think that you're just going to live off of that. Okay? You need to have something else going on before you attempt to try to live off of your YouTube channel. And then what ends up happening is, what does it say? He was upset about the online place that lets anyone know the numbers. Of course he's going to be upset about that. I'm getting told by people that I didn't even know were my enemies now. They're like, why do you got to be talking and telling everybody? My response to this individual, this, anyone describe him, this cantankerous guy, was this: are you really worried about it? And he says, hell yeah. And I was like, click. Wasn't that dramatic. It was just kind of like, whatever. But the point is, you shouldn't be upset about it. You are doing legitimate work. You shouldn't be upset about it. Why are you upset? Why does it bother you? Because I encourage everyone to look into us. I encourage everyone to go and do your research and look into us. Go and find the numbers. Go to, what's it called again?
Social Blade.
Social Blade. Go up there. Go check it out. There was somebody that posted in the Paranormal Roundtable group. The people that are trash talking, they're about 1 in 100 people. Literally, 1 in, maybe even less than that. Maybe 1 in 500 people will pop off or say something, and that's these people that they're their friends and have been their friends for a long time, and they were people who kind of liked us, but they're loyal to them no matter what they do. Like, it doesn't matter what those people do, they got their back. They're going to be on their team. It doesn't. You can't help them. You can't save them. I don't care about them. I don't want to save them. I don't want to convert them. I don't want flippy floppies in my camp. That's why I had to bounce on what's his name. Do the math. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. If you thought that whatever this other guy, you wait. So I'm very displeased with the backbiting and the backstabbing that went on with this thing. It started off with one bad guy doing ridiculous things. Still to this day denying that he was that profile. Come on, man. Stop. Okay, you know it was you.
Yeah, it's funny how ever since we called him out on that a particular profile, now that profile is gone. Yeah, and one of the profile pictures that he used for that fake profile was his own family member.
Mm-hmm. And they don't want to be harassed anymore. Those people. These people, that what they do, I can't, folks. There's a lot I know that I haven't told you. A lot I know, and it goes beyond. It's deep with these people. Every one of them's got skeletons. Like, you went skeletons in the closet ain't even the word for me. I wouldn't want to be these people. And when you start turning over rocks, then they get mad. And they start threatening you. Your threats didn't work. They didn't work. I'm not scared of you. I don't give a crap. You're not going to touch me or do anything to me. You better not. You better not try. Because I'm not the Lone Ranger, and I'm not talking about my listeners. You got it, dirtbags? You have no idea. Don't mess with me. You don't know who you're messing with. You don't know what you're messing with. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of any of you. I got family too. And here in Central Texas, I know everybody. Everybody. And I have a huge family on both sides. And I don't even have to get them involved. I got a lot of friends from my friends that you don't know what you're doing. Don't make threats. Okay? I'm not going over there to you. Don't talk about coming here. You need to stop. You need to stop because you know that's not correct. You know you can't come here and do anything. You know you can't. All right? Everybody already knows what you're about, and you're mad. You're mad, and you're throwing temper tantrums. And folks, watch how they go ballistic like an angry hive of hornets tomorrow. I don't want to call them bees because bees are good. I like bees. Bees do a lot of good. Bradford Johnston, what do you think? Yeah, if he wasn't already from the get-go. Don't give that guy any more views. You already know who I'm talking about. Don't go over there and watch his crap. He's you don't get my people. You don't get to have my people and go over there. Don't do it. Yeah, please. Thank you for that. They're watching us right now as we speak. They're watching us. You're watching us is what I think of you. You're nothing. You're just a bunch of little chirpers. All your everything about you is fake. Everything you do and say is fake. You're all fake. You're all frauds. Your backstories are fake. See, these two guys, they couldn't even keep their story about each other straight. One of them said this happened, and the other one said, oh, yeah, and he went along with it, right? And then later on I talked to him, and then their stories didn't add up again. And then one of them said, oh, that never happened. That story is all fake, make-believe. And now they're buddies again. Now they're buddies again. Or were you buddies all along? You're just playing a role. I don't give a crap. I didn't lose any sleep over it. I went to sleep and woke back up. But what you better do is stay in your state. You don't know enough about, don't come messing with me, dude. I'm telling you, you better leave me the hell alone. And leave my people alone. I'm going to show the texts of what was said and what was done. I'm going to put it out there. I thought about it. I talked to Barton about it. We talked about it. Barton listened to the conversation. He heard what he said. 3 different excuses. You didn't fool me, and you're not going to fool me. It's all going to come out. I'm sorry, folks, if anybody was caught off guard by that situation there. I feel bad that people were led down by this guy. I have my reasons, trust me. More than enough proof of what he did. And so just, yeah, they deserve each other. They deserve each other. They absolutely do. All the rats on one ship. That's right. You're going to sue me. Go ahead, sue me. Go ahead. Do it. Do what you got to do because I'm waiting. I'm waiting for that to happen. So you got to have money and you got to have an actual stream of income. And somebody said, oh, other people's money. I got my money. I got other people that'll back me up. I got people offering me lots of money to help to fight these people. We could use all the help we can get. But you know what? It doesn't matter whether it's somebody supporting me or I'm doing it myself, whatever. The truth is the truth. Right is right. Wrong is wrong. You're grown adults. You know the truth. You know the truth. So, if you want to believe wild, outlandish stories of this man's exploits of how he shot this and shot that and did this, go ahead, listen to him. I wasn't going to call him out. I was going to leave it alone. But then today he did something very dastardly. These people don't care what they do. They don't care if they put people's lives in danger. They don't care if they hurt people or they threaten people. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is winning. That's what they want. Yeah, Linda, do yourself a favor and get, You're not going to win. You're not going to win. I'm sorry that people were misled. This past week was very weird. It was a very odd week. I don't want to say too much. I got to meet with somebody tomorrow, and we got to figure this out. But, I'm not the kind of person that's going to go to another person's state and do something and mess with them. So if they try to say that we're doing that, they're lying. I will not do that. But if you come to me and try to come after me, I'm going to defend myself. I got a person that sent me a message about these people sending somebody, whatever. You better hope to God you don't try something that stupid with me. Do what you got to do. Do it legally. Do it above board. Okay? Stop playing around. They're all fake. They didn't do the things that they say they did. They're not real. This one guy, he was in the Peace Corps. He wasn't at war. He was in the Peace Corps. I can tell you that. Now they'll probably put their story together again and try to say, oh, yeah, well, now it did happen. This is what really happened. You then change your story and flip-flop so many times. What does it matter? Your story's fake. You're fake. You're all fake. You're all weak. You're weak. You want to make war and make trouble, but you don't know how to do it. You got one of them. He's just a big old fat guy who can't even barely move. You know, what are you going to do besides roll a cigar around in your mouth? Go report that. With your oral fixations you got going on. Not afraid of you. I am not afraid of you. I don't care. I know you. I know you're kind. You may actually grow a pair enough to try something stupid because you're sick of me telling you. I'm going to say this to all of you children, okay? I don't respect you. 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 Make me respect you. Do something that makes me respect you. I do some good quality work. I know that goofball is going to get on his show tonight and say some stupid things. Don't give him the time of day. Let him get up there and lie for his master. You guys are all fakes. You're all fakes, and you're mad because you've been caught up in your fakery and your hoaxery and your chicanery. This community deserves better. It deserves better. They talk about the outpouring of support. It's been amazing. I don't see how. You have 15 people that watch you on your show. And when they have, 100, 130 on their chats because of me and what's going on, fake people, fake numbers. Another thing, too, the only time they ever get anybody on there is when they have controversy. That's why they like the controversy. The only reason that these people get anything or do anything is because of us. They're leeches. Every one of them's a leech. And people talking about this guy's scary, that guy's scary. Why? Because he shows guns on his... If I came up here and showed you my guns, you'd be like, what the hell? You'd be like, okay, we've taken this in a whole other direction. You think you don't think I have a gun? I mean, I'm not going to do it, but I'm not reaching for a gun. I'm just saying. Probably shouldn't. You don't think I have them? Huh? You think I'm scared of you because you show your guns? You scrawny little wannabe Peace Corps. Shut up. Shut your freaking mouth. You know what you look like? You look like the guy from the Texas Chain. My brother made good head cheese. That's what you look like. I don't respect you. I have no respect for you. Okay? You can make up all the stories you want about what you did, but I know what you did, and you judge them by their works, and your works are foul. I know you all. And Fat Albert over there. Hey. Time to make up stories today. Shut up. Shut up. If any of you had even the slightest inkling of who or what you were dealing with, you would shut your mouth. You would stop. But you don't know, do you? You don't get it. Talk about you've done homework. You haven't done your homework. You obviously have not done your homework. You watch. They'll turn on each other so quick. They'll eat each other. And then as soon as one of them says, oh, I got something on you. Oh, I'm on your side then. We're good. That's what happens. Folks, I stand here right now before you, and I'm telling you, I'm innocent of doing only one thing I've ever done, and that's stand up to these people and expose their lies and their fake, their fakery. And they can't stand it because we have real people right now, 444 people in this chat with real numbers, real people. It's not my fault that people want to talk to me. It's not my fault that I can go to a restaurant and talk to a waiter and get a story and what you can't. Because you're probably too busy talking about yourselves and all your grand adventures and your tales of badassery. Maybe you should shut up about that and start talking about the paranormal. That's what people told me a while back. They're like, nobody wants to hear about the badassery. Okay, fine. Let's talk about paranormal. I laid it out there who I was and what I am. And you didn't believe it. You wanted to check nuts. Check nuts before you step to these mother effing real G's. That's what this is. Go listen to the Eazy-E song, right? And the V-Man, like he says about, you're going to get treated like boot camp. Yeah. Got to follow your sergeant's directions. That's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be listening to him and doing what he tells you. Somebody gave you something in confidence, and what did you do? You went and ran back and gave it to them, and now you're putting that person in jeopardy. You are a piece of crap. I absolutely have no love for you. I despise you with every fiber of my being. I really despise you. You have your reasons. You said you have your reasons of your family and your obstacles. I don't give a damn about your family or your obstacles. I don't care about you. I know you're never going to pay me back the money I gave you. And that other choke artist, I gave you money too when you needed it. Yeah, I didn't even know the whole situation. You know what I did? I actually asked your boss how you were doing when you were in the joint, dude. And then you get out and you take a crap all over me. I don't give a crap what happens to you now. Because now I know the absolute unadulterated truth. You don't get to go around and commit whatever kind of heinous acts you commit and still just be looked at as a normal guy, because you're not. They want you to think that they've turned over a new leaf and they're not bad people anymore. They just did a bunch of bad stuff. Okay? How long has that been? How many people? Yeah, exactly, Phil Billy. I told him already. How many people do you think that it's going to take for these people to screw over before people finally wake up? You don't hear about me screwing people over in business. You don't hear about me screwing people over and doing horrible things, threatening people when they don't get their way. You don't hear about that from me. The minute you don't do what they want, it's on. They think they're gangsters. You're not gangsters. You are so far from gangsters. Talking about putting people in trunks. Dude, shut up. Shut up. Do something to me. If I go missing, you watch what happens. You watch what happens. I got 42 people that are my brothers. You're not my brothers. 42 people that I call brothers. And I say now there's 39 because 3 of them are deceased. You think I give a crap? You think I'm scared of you? You think you're going to make me shut up because you're going to slander me and commit libel? You're wannabes, and you're never going to be's, and you're never going to be me, and you're never going to be able to do what we do because we bring it and we're real, and you're fake. You're all fake. These people thought they were going to take me down, hoodwink me and hoodwink you, and play like they were my friends until they could get strong and try to come at me, and they did. They came after Bettina and Abe, and they thought I was going to sit back and take it. Now, me and Abe weren't friends at one time, and I still stepped up, and I stepped up to the plate. Now, if you other people want to sit on the fence, and go ahead, sit on the fence and fiddle fart around or wait and see who you think is whatever. I have not lied to you yet, and I'm not going to, and they can't bust me in any lies. They keep trying, and they come up with the absolute most absurdities, the most ridiculous absurdities, and they get a few people to believe it because you wouldn't believe that people could brazenly lie like that. You wouldn't believe it that they could brazenly lie like that. I'm sure they're going to try to do something. They're already trying to hack into our stuff. It's already been happening. We've been dealing with it. These people are dirty. They are dirty as a public toilet seat, every one of them. And I'm so sick and tired of you, and you're trying to subvert this community. I think there's a bigger force at play here. Me and Robert Kreider talked about it, and I think there's a bigger thing going on. He's like, I've never even heard of these people. This is what Robert told me. He's like, I didn't even heard of these people. I'm not trying to throw him in here because he didn't, he just was like, what's going on? He asked me, and I told him. I didn't give him a big old explanation because he's not involved. Now they'll probably go run and mess with him. That's how they are. But he was like, I never even heard of these people. He goes, I've been watching you for years. I don't know who these people are. They're inconsequential until they start trying to act like bedbugs. And now I'm going to get voodoo curses put on me and all this other nonsense. Dude, shut up. Just shut up. Dirty as the day is long. talk about me like I'm your friend or your brother, and then you go and you send people messages behind my back and stupidly send it to me. Stupidly, you sent it to me. Folks, I'm going to tell you the absolute truth. I prayed the day before. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Jerry and Ella, they prayed with me the day before. They said, we need to know the truth. May God give us discernment and the answers. The answers. Next day, he sends me a message. Oops. Oh, that was meant for someone else. I'm sure it was. Yeah, exactly, Barton. Won't be the first time we've been cursed. I'm talking to you, V-Man. You sent me a message that was meant for your boss. I got the screenshots, brother. Oh, boy, did you lie. You tried to lie your way out of it. Liar, your pants on fire. Hang your booty from the high wire. Yeah. You didn't think I was going to. Did you think I was going to sit there and take it? And then you spend hours trying to convince my wife? I don't believe anything you say, and I haven't for the last week. Why would you reach over there and try to call or text this guy and try to be his friend after all the things you said about him? Does he really know everything you said about him? If you're out there listening, Swamp, I'm going to tell you, you should probably get in touch with me, and we can record it, because I got some things I could say to you about some people in your camp who were trying to, exactly. You might want to know. You might want to know what kind of people you're running around with, in bed with. And I don't fear curses. I don't give a crap about your curses. I don't care. Good, whatever. If something happens to me, it's a coincidence. There's no curse. I can tell you that. If it's God's wrath, then it's God's wrath. But there's a lot of things. There's good people out there on both sides being hurt. There's some people that are on their side. They don't know any better. They don't. Thank you for that donation. I appreciate it. We all do. And they don't care who they hurt or what they do. But now, V-Man, what you did and what I found out about it today, I'm not even talking about what you did to me. Oh, my God. God help you. God help you. It's not my wrath. You're going to be worried about God. How you can sit up there and talk about how you had a near-death experience and now you do this? Oh, no. And now you're going to turn your show into the Attack Me show, right? Folks, we know it's coming. We know it's coming. After all the things he said about this other guy. He wanted to say and do things that I don't cross those lines. I wonder if he knows. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe you lied to him enough to where he believes you. He'd be a fool. A real fool. I don't even think he's that stupid. I don't like you, Swamp Man, but what he was talking about, I will not participate in. Just going to tell you that. I got my standards. They're up here. Okay? He's got none. Just letting you know. There are some things, folks, some lines you don't cross. And that is one you don't cross. Okay? Some things need to be turned over to the police, and that's what I think I'm going to do tomorrow. Folks, good night. Y'all have a nice night. I'll see you guys.